GG's The Mouthful Podcast is brought to you by
Rocks,
the most welcoming gaming community on Facebook. Join the conversation at www.goodgame.rocks.
All right, healthy as shit.
Hold on. Am I healthy as shit?
Yeah, it says recording in progress. So I'm gonna go with you're good to go,
Yeah.
sir.
It won't
Okay,
let us
all right.
record. Yeah.
Okay, I'm golden then. Ready where you are.
Welcome back, guys. This is Arnaldo, aka Mad Dog, and this is The Real, episode 224 of GG's The Mouthful Podcast. G to the G to the G to the G.
I feel like I'm the only one. I feel like I messed it up, and I'm the only one that sounded that GG.
I think my sound cut off entirely because there's this entire blank space right there.
I know what happened. What
I
happened?
You
no
go too
idea.
loud. You probably went too loud. You
Did
went
I?
ludicrous.
No,
speed.
I did.
You cannot
I
go
did.
ludicrous speed.
I did. I took over the entire Ariel spectrum.
Yeah, apparently.
And okay, so let's do that again. GG.
Hey, well, that
There
was
it
a
is.
little,
It's
little
kind of
more
broken
than
and
I was
flexible.
expecting, but
You know what?
okay.
We should. What we should do is we should each record our own tracks in Audacity, and then Mad Dog can put it together.
Nope, that's not happening, guys. Those voices, of course, first off, from sunny Florida, Mr. Dream Twister, a.k.a. David Santos. What is up, sir?
I am still not a sellout. I am still not a corporate commander like our host here, Mad Dog. I'm still for the people. I love you guys.
If you think that's if you think last week was anything, wait till this week's hot topic. And the other voice, of course, is Mr. Chaos Reaper, a.k.a. Gilberto. What is up, bro?
what other voice? No, I'm just kidding. Not much, man.
The
No,
one
no.
whose microphone seems to be broken.
Yes.
Apparently,
Has been-
just good to be off on Friday night.
Yes.
Oh, hell
We've been
yes.
MIA for I don't know, for several weeks now, but
At
that's
least
okay.
2 weeks.
Yes, we're happy to have you back. Well, I guess 2 weeks. Yes, we're happy to have you back, sir.
He's meeting his minimum quota for us not to post his position to fill out another fair share.
This is how Sony keeps Spider-Man. They have to occasionally make him a film.
Make something,
Otherwise
yeah.
They lose the rights.
You have discovered me.
That's
I don't know
the
what to
strategy.
say now.
That's the strategy. No,
I mean, it's a
we're
working
gonna
strategy.
I was gonna say, will it still work? Okay, as long as it still works, I'm good.
Lucky you, I can't do it. I have to show up every week, especially if we don't have a fair share for some reason. Well, because you're working, because I got no excuse. I can't say, well, I'm working, because Matt's gonna be like, no, you don't. I know your schedule. What the fuck?
I can actually go log in and see your schedule. Why are you lying?
Exactly. He'll be like, get your ass back. We're gonna do this over the phone, but you're gonna do this podcast.
Well, I mean, we did have 1 week where I had to go solo.
I know
and
that was so sad though. I will never put you through that again. I can't.
Honestly, I don't know if I can do it again. I felt like, and I haven't like I've been waiting to hear anyone's opinion outside of you guys. Obviously, you guys are going to be a little gracious and go, "Yeah, it was good." In the back of your heads, you're going, "Yeah, you got to make sure that shit don't happen."
You don't think we'd be honest about it?
I don't know. Maybe a little bit. Not. I'm not sure.
You know that for the longest time,
There might be a little bias there.
Yeah, that
Sure.
might be. Who is he? Major Nelson from Xbox.
Xbox.
Yeah, he used to have a podcast, and I would listen to the podcast like way back in the day. I think this was at the beginning of the 360 era, and it was a one-man show. It was a one-man show, and he
I've
held it.
heard. Yeah, I've heard
Yeah.
many podcasts that have been one
Yeah.
person, and they're actually good. But I mean, obviously, the voice of the person has to be okay with. Essentially, it's like a lot of them are stand-up comedians, which you're already used to just talking, not really having any back and forth. You know what
Yeah,
I
you're
mean?
not
Because you're just
bouncing it.
talking out. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So, so it makes sense that those shows. I mean, not to say Major Nelson's a comedian, but who knows? Maybe he has it in him. So,
That's some inside scoop.
well, yeah, exactly. Well, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. As always, if you haven't already, please go to goodgame.rocks, join the conversation there. And of course, please like, subscribe, share the podcast with everyone. What we normally do, guys, is first we go into what we have been up to, move on into some various news items, and then finish with our hot topic of the week. This week's hot topic:
Topic.
Xbox Doom and Gloom, with an addendum, apparently.
No, wait. It was Xbox Doom and Gloom. So you better have put
question
that
mark?
question mark, because if you
I
didn't
don't
put that
think so.
question mark,
No.
oh shit.
Yeah, I made it a statement, meaning
Oh, no.
yes, it is Doom and Gloom.
That is fucked. That is. You see that again? You're showing.
Excuse me, sir. I presented it to you, and you didn't see a question mark. You didn't say anything about it. So I guess this is good.
I
guess
didn't
he's
think you
all
were gonna. I didn't think you were. I know he wanted to soften it out a little bit, and I was like, "Hell no, man! Let's just put it as you see it. It's Xbox Doom and Gloom." But he understood Xbox is Doom and Gloom. I think he liked it a little bit, because then he was like, "Ah, fuck it, let's go with that." Yeah.
Yeah. So essentially, what we're looking at, particularly, is, well, I think we're just really going to look at the launch and just go, how's this going to really launch? You know,
No,
is
no,
this
no,
going to
no,
be
no.
a failure to launch? Is
I
really
wanted
what
to.
it's gonna be.
I wanted to explain where this is coming from, because we don't. It's not. It's not really meant to be. We're not gonna be dooming and glooming, and doom scrolling Xbox. What I was trying to flesh out of this conversation was, you brought up a very good point, Mad Dog. When we were talking about, well, actually, when we were talking about the review, the last event that they had,
Mhm.
and that was that, hey, maybe Microsoft is trying to do its own thing. And that got me thinking, like, I kind of want to delve into that a little bit more to see, like, exactly, like, how do you see it going, or is this actually a good thing? Is it a bad thing? How are they, how are they doing, basically?
Mhm.
And will it matter at the end of the day for, for it? That's basically where I was trying to go
Okay.
with,
Fair
and
enough. I
also
like it.
show that it's not really, it's not like it looks. Yes, it looks really bad. I'm not gonna lie, but there is a
they're not
silver
helping their
lining
own
in it.
cause, so
No, that's absolutely not.
so
But they're also, there's
they probably
a
have a
silver
plan.
lining on it.
Yeah, they probably have a plan. Hopefully,
Yeah.
we hope that there's a plan. All right. So yeah, let's start with what we have been up to, guys. And I'm going to shoot it over to Mr. Chaos, who we have not
Oh,
heard from in weeks.
Yes, Chaos, it's you.
what was the last thing that I told you guys I was doing?
Something Destiny related.
Something Destiny related, yeah. Something,
Well, it's
I
been
think it was Destiny
2
2.
weeks of Destiny related things.
Wow.
Back to you.
I've played
Okay,
nothing.
Ramiro.
Yeah, I've played nothing but Destiny. I haven't watched any TV shows, or whether on Netflix or any other stream service. I haven't watched any movies. I haven't played any games but Destiny. The grind is real, and I'm almost done with it.
So unappealing to me. I don't know.
I am currently. I mean, it's the various things that you can do to get the gear that appeals to me. It's not just one thing and that's it. No, you get things that will actually increase your level. You get at my point where I'm at, you get like 6 of them, I believe. So you get some kind of progress regardless.
Okay.
I'm guessing when I'm missing only one piece is gonna be it might be a little bit harder, but eventually, right? I hope so. But my
sure.
light level is 1058 right now.
Oh, okay. Nice.
If I remember correctly.
Damn. Last time it was 1030 something. So you're moving along there.
Making
Oh
progress.
yeah. Oh, it's been a lot of it's been thanks in part or large part to my clan which I play a lot of my activities with them, whether it's the raids or the nightmare strikes.
Mm.
Which, by the way, I recently ran one with Ramiro, with Rome.
Yeah.
It was me, Rome, and Dark. We did. I don't remember the name of the strike. I don't know the name of all those strikes. Lake of Shadows, I think. Maybe it was Lake of Shadows. Um, it took us well, the run we completed successfully was 30 minutes, but we probably were there for at least an hour, maybe an hour and a half. Maybe an hour and a half is too long, but at least an hour, just trying to get through the goddamn strike because it's recommended light level, or it's at light level 1100, but it limits you to 1075. Like Dark and Rome are like 1081 or 1082. Well, they get dropped down to 1075.
Oh, so the game itself actually imposes
Yeah.
that cap. Oh
Yes.
wow.
So it's super difficult because you're 25 light levels under everything, and everything is like one or two shots and you're dead. So you gotta go, you gotta pace yourself. Unless of course you're one of these freaks on the internet with somebody recorded themselves doing a like 6 minute run as a hunter. Like
Just one
what?
person?
Just one person. Yeah, he soloed the whole
Damn.
thing.
Holy crap.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Using exploits?
Um, no, well, at the end he hit in a part where he couldn't be hit, but that's not really his fault. I mean, he wasn't like glitching through a wall; it's just a ledge that's there.
Wow.
So
Reminds me of the
yeah,
days of World of Warcraft. The person that will do like a crazy raid, like BlackRock Spire by themselves. And back when you used to need 40 people to do the raid, but obviously they were using some some exploit that were taking advantage of some exploits.
oh yeah, I was gonna say that's 40 people. I mean, here it's six, but I mean, still you can't really run the raid solo here. Not like when Crota was released, the second raid in the Darkness Below, Nightmare Below, whatever the fuck it was.
I think it was Dark Riddle. You nailed it.
Um, I two man that raid, and I almost successfully soloed that raid entirely.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean I was breaking the game because the whole thing I was using exploits, but
you you just bruising for you're just looking for a ban.
I mean if they're gonna ban me for something that happened in Crota, damn, it's not my fault they had that shit broken when they released it. I mean, there was a cheese for Crota himself that you had somebody that the party leader disconnect their Ethernet cable,
Ethernet
Hmm.
cable, yeah.
and he would just fall on his knees and just stay on his knees the whole fight, and you could just kill him.
That's not a that's not that's straight up cheating.
I mean, the
If it
way the
lets you
game
do it,
was
right?
coded was allowing you, and then the person that disconnected would just come back in, and then you just kill
The
the
game
boss.
allowed me to cheat, and I can see through walls, and the game allowed it. So
I
I just need
mean,
this
you
extra
remember
tool.
Perfect Dark? Perfect Dark had a sniper rifle that let you see through walls, and it was a one shot,
Oh yeah, yeah. I
and it would
remember that
track
shit.
people.
That was the
Wow.
same gun from the Eraser movie. I'll never forget that. That's the same gun. That's what that was.
Well, yeah, but
Well, Titanfall had a revolver that will that will
this one
literally
goes a little
curve the
bit
bullets.
further. This one goes a little bit further because this one will actually track enemies. Like all you have to do is aim down the sight, and it'll look for an enemy, and then all you got to do is adjust the sight a little bit. Bam, one shot.
Wow. Hmm.
Mm.
Perfect Dark. I love that game. I mean, it was kind of like it's kind of sad when you think about it because I was playing against 16 bots. I had no
Oh,
friends.
Oh,
So
oh.
sad, so
that's
sad.
a
But
little. That's a little sad.
I
I'm not gonna
abused
lie.
the shit out of those bots. I
Yeah, these
was
that shit
not
be quick.
good. I was cheating. I mean,
Quick, quick.
again, the gun was part of the game. It was a Martian gun or the sniper rifle or whatever. Yep. So yeah, that's what I've been up to. A lot of Destiny, and more Destiny.
Destiny.
Destiny with
Wow.
Destiny and a side of Destiny. Okay.
Yes.
I was ready
Fucked up.
for for the big narrative. I was like, well, I haven't been in the podcast for 2 weeks, so maybe a rundown of every game that I owned this week. Oh, who the fuck talks like that? Stupid ass man.
It's been
Just you, my
Destiny.
friend.
I even got my
Well,
wife into raiding. She completed her first raid last night.
there
Nice.
you go. Well, that's
Nice.
fun. See, you get
Yes,
to
that was a
Rating
lot of
with the
fun.
misses. That's got to
Yes.
be
raiding with
top
the
notch. I like it.
It's
misses.
I mean, I was very impressed with how she performed. She did very good. She followed the like we like some of us made mistake. It wasn't just her. Like at some point I fucked up, and at some point Dark fucked up, or even the clan leader messed up. But we still got through it. We even did the weekly challenge, which is this week. It was like not killing some cyclops that spawn. So you kind of had to live through that. It was kind of annoying, but we got it done. So you get 2 chests out of that. Um, which honestly, I got the same bolt twice. What's kind of disappointing, but at least I got 2 kinetics that can go up to 1060 now.
Hey, at least, am I right?
Yeah, it's progress. Don't get me wrong.
Mhm.
And next week we'll try it again. Depending on the challenge, we'll do it. I think we've been able to complete 2 out of the 3 challenges. I think the last one and the last final boss fight is the one that we. I mean, that final boss is a pain in the ass, honestly.
Mm.
Interesting.
But it's still a lot of fun. I honestly should be streaming it, and I'm sorry I didn't do it.
Yes.
I would
Yes,
I
you
would have
should.
watched that play with
Yeah.
when you Ramiro took over, took
Oh,
that
it's gonna happen again. I'm
strike.
definitely gonna drag him to another grandmaster. Hopefully this week. If I can do it tonight, I will.
Oh,
Okay.
he'll be happy to, more than happy to.
No, I'm pretty sure he's gonna
Okay.
be online at
Ramiro?
some
Oh,
point.
hell yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Gas. Mr. Dream Twister, what the fuck have you been doing?
No movies. I did started watching.
And I don't want to hear it. No, just go.
Okay. Sorry. No, but as I'm going back into
So you
the
haven't watched Pulp Fiction?
I have you know what? Sometime this
Never gonna
year,
happen at this
just to
point,
make
so.
you happy, just so you stop bringing it up. Uh,
That would
uh,
make me very happy.
uh, well, you know what? Then that shall be my gift. Then sometime this year. I'm not gonna put a date on it. But no, I wanted to like I'm really not watching anything. That's not true. I started watching Kingdom, that series that takes place in ancient China, maybe that. It's like it's like the everybody describes it as the Walking Dead uh imperial uh
Is this a show?
Chinese Empire version. Yeah,
You're the
you've seen
one
it. You
watching
you,
this.
you
Don't
seen
you?
the
Oh
show.
no, it's not
Place?
Chinese. It's Korean. It's a Korean.
It's Korean. Sorry, I'm sorry.
Chinese.
My bad. Yeah, it's Korean. It's Korean. My bad.
You're the one
Uh,
watching it.
I know, but I couldn't tell because I was trying to watch it with the original subtitles, and I put the Korean subtitles, and then the action that was happening on it was so cool, and I was missing it because I'm reading. I was like, nope, I can't do it. Sorry.
Actually, the English subtitles. I got this. I don't know if it's just Netflix, but I can definitely give a props to Netflix where they are doing it in a way where it almost matches up with the lips a little bit. You
Yeah,
know what
it's
I
not
mean? Or at
bad.
least the
Yeah,
timing of it matches up with the lips. So,
yeah.
and it actually that's how I've watched it. And I normally do watch it with subtitles, but I'm the same way where I'm like, I don't want to watch this more than once. So I
Mhm.
need to pay it. I want to see what's going on, and yeah, reading it can be a pain.
Yeah. So my wife has seen it, already, and she wanted me to watch it to see if I'll get into it, and uh, and yeah, I mean, I definitely want to continue watching it, but it was one of those things where I because she's already seen it, I asked her, hey, would you mind if we just watch it in the original? She's like, oh yeah, no problem, no problem. And I started watching it, and I couldn't follow a lot of what was happening because I was so interested in what was happening on the screen. Um, but I'm still too early to pass judgment on it. All I can tell you is it's called Kingdom. We have discussed it on the podcast already. I think you were you were favorable on it, right, my dog. I
Oh
thought you liked
yeah, I
it.
love it. I can't wait for the next season. Yeah, absolutely.
There you go. So that's that. I'm also going into the super oldies. I started watching, or introducing my wife to, the series Frasier again.
Wow!
Wow.
Yeah,
What
let me
trip!
Yes, that is going way back to the early '90s, and man, I forgot how much I freaking like. I don't think I've given the series enough credit. I think it should have actually, it should be the series that I'm calling my favorite series of the '90s, rather than giving it to like Friends or Seinfeld or anything like that, because
Yeah, yeah.
the jokes, man,
It
it
is,
is
yeah.
just too
It is
funny.
definitely, yeah. It is
You
definitely, I think, top notch comedy for real. I
you
like Friends.
don't.
Don't get me wrong, I really like Friends, but I
Yeah,
really, if
yeah,
I had
me
to
too.
compare the two, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And I like, Seinfeld. That was the block, right? It was Friends, Seinfeld, and Frasier,
Hmm.
basically, back. But for some reason, usually, and the surprising thing is that usually spin-off of series, they don't tend to do very well for the most part,
Hmm.
and Frasier was a spin-off of Cheers, which I never watched the whole series. I only caught a glimpse of a couple of episodes, but I recognized the impact that that series had in television in the 80s, um, and all the stars that were pretty much everybody that came out of that show. So, but yeah, I don't know what it was. It was something I was able to secure all the seasons, and I'm having a good time with it. Just going back, even in that old 4:3 format, which looks very weird on my TV, I'm still enjoying it. Yeah, because they're not formatted. They're on format. They're
Hmm.
DVD, the DVD version. So they don't look super well, but it's still hilarious. It's a timeless gem, if you will. I stopped playing Darksiders Genesis because that game just got too boring. I'm
Oh,
sorry. And
okay.
I don't mean, and it's me. This is not, I don't blame the game in particular. This game is full of action. It's definitely action packed, and whoever's in the mood for that type of game will eat this up. But it was just not like it just happened that I woke up one day and I was like, nope, I don't want to play this. And that's when um I think I told you, I think I mentioned last week, I accidentally discovered that I like dirt rally games.
Yeah, yeah.
and I and now I went ahead and bought Dirt Rally 2.0, which came out recently. I want to say 2019. I want to say the original Dirt Rally that I was playing, that I discovered that I had. I didn't even remember how the hell did I get that game. I just saw that I had it on Steam. Was a 2015. I was like, I'm enjoying this. I kind of wonder what this game looks with better graphics. I wonder what the price is, and it just so happened that Steam had, one of the Steam sales, and I think it's still going, where you could get it for like $7. Was it $7? Was it? Let me check the store page real quick. It was, yeah, it was 7.99 if you wanted the base version. Oh, sorry, my bad. 9.99 if you wanted the base version, and 14.99 if you wanted the Game of the Year edition.
Mm.
So I got it, and dude, I have no way of explaining how much I'm enjoying racing a vehicle that barely makes contact with the ground because of the way. And I'm not good at it. First of all, this game was described as the Dark Souls of racing games, and I
Mm.
see why. This is not a game where you could just get first place easily. I don't think I have. Well, I haven't been in the podium like ever. And every time I think my best race, I was first place on one particular race, but on the championship I was like number 18 of
Mm.
of of 30 in this case CPU control, AI control. opponents. Although you can enter championships that are with with people, but uh, I like it a lot. The game, here's my little problem that I have with it, and this happens with a lot of racing games, unfortunately, and that is that very few games capture that lived in world feel.
Okay.
Like and what I mean by that is that uh most of the games that are most racing car games, it's about the vehicles, of course, but in this kind of like, how can I describe it? It's like you don't see the human element a lot, because everybody is like super quiet or muted. Basically, you don't hear anybody. In the case of Dirt Rally, you hear obviously your co-pilot, and he's very chatty because throughout the entire race he is giving you commands. So that's not a problem on that. On that, he he's good. But once you go like into the menus, into like just everything else, everything feels so sterile. You remember Gran Turismo?
Hmm.
In Gran Turismo, is the game looked beautiful, the cars look amazing, but it seems like it's just a world of cars basically, and
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
referring to the Disney movie. There's no, the human element is not there at all. You don't feel, there's no radio, there's no person talking, there's absolutely nothing. Those cars might as well be driving themselves. What Gran Turismo is like the worst offender when it comes to that. um, Forza Horizon, on the other hand, and one of the reasons I liked it was because I've always talked about, well, the feeling of the festival and the fact that you're constantly hearing people and chatter, and there's always like, it feels like a very lived in, like a more realistic, but
Hmm.
without the graphical fidelity. It doesn't have to have the graphical fidelity of Gran Turismo. It actually just it's a more lived in world. Well, Dirt Rally, when you're in the race or you're in the actual part of the race, it's fine because you have your co-pilot talking to you all the whole time. But when you are on anything else, it is like super quiet and ominous, and I don't know. It just feels weird that it is 2020 and we still haven't been able to figure out, or there's only a handful of games that are able to figure that lived in by humans world feel on racing games. Uh, the game is incredible unforgiving. Like there's no instructions. It doesn't hold your hand. It just
Okay.
throws like the first menu.
It is a
If
Dark
you want to
Souls
play,
of
how you go
racing.
to the huh?
I said it is Dark Souls of racing, so it makes sense.
Yeah, it basically the first. If you were to start the game by just pressing the button, I just want to try the game. You know how other racing games kind of like ease you in a little bit, or give you a chance to pick up like a slow vehicle or whatever, just to get your toe wet.
Hmm.
Uh, Not this one. On this one, if you just go in, you're already locked into a championship with whatever car you selected, and you are stuck with that vehicle for the remaining of the championship. And the problem is that the championship, you will think, is like, well, it's 4 races or 5 races, and that's it, right? And then depending on where I stand, I won the championship or not. No, it is each event is 4 or 5 race, or no, actually, let's say 4 races each event. You have to win 6 of those. So if you want to be able to change your vehicle because you're getting tired of the same vehicle you're driving, you have to either finish the entirety of the championship, or you have to quit the championship and just pick up. Like I made the mistake of picking up a vehicle that was a front wheel, sorry, a real wheel drive, because I have no idea what I was doing,
Hmm.
and those vehicles are kind of difficult to maneuver on the rally course. And yeah, I'm having a hell of a time, winning races. I think the one of the few times that I won a race, I freaking posted it because I was like, yes, you know,
I think I saw it.
uh,
Yeah,
and it was pure. I mean, it's fun because when you're playing, it's one of those games that if you really want to be good, you need to learn to zone out. Like you can't be thinking about your progress, you can't be thinking about how much you have left, you can't have external stimuli. No, it has to be like you're in it, and then you just let your hands, don't even think about what you're doing, let your hands do the thing and listen. You have to listen to your copilot, and your copilot will be giving you like crazy instructions that will be taken in a weird language that I can't even say. I mean, it's English obviously, but uh, he gives you instructions on what's ahead, and you need to know how to interpret those, because sometimes I like he'll tell me corner six Titan. I have no idea what Titan means. For all intents and purposes, he might be doing Destiny references. I don't know. But like it doesn't matter. Like I could get 18th place and I'm still like, yep, I still have a good time. I'm not gonna restart it or anything like that. I will be whatever I'll be. And there's a lot other type of what you call it type of rally courses, like there's the one against time, the ones against the other cars at the same time, and stuff like that, but I haven't delved into that because I need to finish this one championship that I started and I might be on race number 22, and I want to finish it so that I can actually go and pick up another vehicle. uh it's funny, this game was actually free on PSN back in April. So the opportunity is gone for that, and
I
and
never
and,
tagged
and
it, so
I never even, huh?
I said I never tagged it, so
No, 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 and nor would I have expected you to. but but yeah, it's really good. That Dirt Rally 2.0. I didn't even know, but Dirt Rally 5, I believe it is, was delayed a week in October. And I was like, oh man, they delayed it. And then I was like, wait a minute, I don't know about this game. Why am I worried about it? I'm just playing this one. Fuck it. Uh, but yeah, that's. Oh, and again. Um, what's that name? Dying Light, because I saw
Dying
it was
Light?
like, yeah,
Yeah.
$13 on Steam, and I was like, well, I know this game is good, and it has been ridiculously well supported. I mean, it still is, for a game that came out, I believe, in 2016, or might have been 15 even. I don't know, but it has had its share of re-releases, and and I know it's really good. I started playing it a long time ago. I think I told you I started playing it, but it wasn't like the right time because it seems like it's gonna be a long game.
Mm-hmm.
And for those who don't know, it's basically first person, zombie shooter with RPG elements, with heavy RPG elements. Actually, I think they had like 3 or 4 skill trees and a lot of like crazy parkour. I think it has been compared to, what's that game, Mirror's Edge.
Oh, okay.
Even
Mm-hmm.
like Mirror's Edge with zombies, and I mean, you hear that and you're thinking like, wow, this gotta be awesome then. And to be fair, it is it is pretty great, and you're more surprised with all the quality content that they have added to it for free. you know so that's why I was like, well, let me try it, let me try it again and see if it stick. I'm ready to play something that I can actually use keyboard and mouse. Maybe, I don't know. I've been playing a lot of rally,
Okay.
so I've
Nice.
been playing so much rally
What's
that
wrong with the
because,
controller?
huh?
What's wrong with a controller?
I didn't say there was anything wrong with the controller, but most of the games that I've played lately have been gamepad based, and because I've been playing so much rally, I was already looking at prices of wheels before I said no. Let me hold off. Let me not get crazy.
I mean,
Uh,
you're a racing
fl-
kind of guy anyway, so it's not like it would go to waste. You know
and
what I
no,
mean?
it's not like I haven't had a racing wheel before. I actually
Mhm.
used to own one before, and yeah, I guess you're right. But Flight Simulator is like right around the corner,
Okay.
and I need to know if what I really need is a
I think.
racing wheel or a flying yoke. So
Wow.
I'm still deliberating that.
Wow. All right. Okay. Well, for me, I finally finished my epic quests
No,
through the hills of
no, you
Tsushima.
didn't. Are you
Yeah,
sure?
I am positively, and I know the stupid thing does not have a timer, but I know I'm way over the 50-hour mark that they were
That is
touting
said that
for
it
a
had.
while. Yeah,
Mhm.
because I basically did almost almost all side missions. At some point, I stopped trying to get all the shrines and stopped trying to get all the banners and all this other bullshit. But I did clear out
Open
all the
world.
yeah, I did clear out all the I guess you can call them the Mongol camps because they're just the most fun. They really are the most fun of that game. That game is I won't peg it as my game of the year, but it definitely sits in that conversation. And the crazy part is that it's really not doing that I can think of. It's not really doing anything out of the ordinary. You know what I mean? But I don't play open world games. You know what I mean? So I don't play Assassin's Creed. I don't play Far Cry. So that open world fatigue
I
that a
don't
lot of
play
people have.
Ubisoft.
You know what I mean? It's like what was the other one?
Oh, you said I don't play Ubisoft. I
The
was gonna
basic.
say I don't play Grand Theft Auto.
I don't play Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah,
I do play Red Dead. Don't ask me why.
it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Did you beat that game?
uh, I did. I did.
Oh
I did.
wow.
Yeah, completed that game.
Yeah, but that
That
was
was another
something
one.
else. That was a reason. I mean, yeah,
Yeah, but that wasn't
yeah.
that was definitely an and a wonderful game on top of that. I will never ever be going down that road again, but I really enjoyed my time. And honestly the same thing here. There's just there's the game is way too long. Well, it is a long game, which I knew was going to be long, but it was enjoyable ride for
Mm.
Ghost of Tsushima. Um
Yeah, there you go.
I still have gigs of photos and videos that I probably should just
Oh,
delete at this point. Because I it's just the funniest thing, you just catch a nice angle and you're like, dear Lord, look how beautiful that is. You know what I mean? You just gotta stop and take an image of it. It's such a freaking I mean, that is honestly it excels in its visual style and its music, believe it or not. The music is actually very good as well. I didn't really think so at first, but after a while you just
mm,
kind of it just really fits the world that you're in. um Camera of course is still a problem. The fact that there's no lock on, it's one of those things you really got to get used to, and once you start getting used to you kind of get the handle of it, but at the same time it's like there's a reason why they invented the lock on. Why would you not use it? But anyway,
yeah, it's
other
weird.
than that, obviously I won't go into spoilers here, but the story I did enjoy the story for what it was. It wasn't groundbreaking story anything like that, but it was definitely enjoyable. Dream, I know you. I think I think you would really enjoy this game. The camera may
Oh,
annoy
for
you
sure.
because I think the type of combat really works outside. You know what I mean? But
Mm,
once you go inside into certain, it can really just annoy the shit out of you. And
mm.
again, because you can't lock on, it becomes who's hitting me. Somebody
Yeah,
just
yeah,
fucking hit me. I
yeah.
don't even know where
I
it
mean,
came from.
someone say it might it could be refreshing. Maybe it could be. I mean, I understand the camera issues in tight corridors, for example, might be annoying. But if it's one less gameplay thing I have to worry about, I mean, who knows? No,
Yeah,
I
I
might
mean, it's
enjoy it.
multiple ways of looking at and you have
Maybe.
plenty of tools, and tools and abilities that you can use to level the playing ground, and
So
and there were
that
times where I was literally killing someone
hmm.
from behind them, like where the camera was. All I saw was the enemy because I was behind the enemy, and I was walking and killing them. So at some point, I'm going, well, I must be getting good at this if I can do this without even seeing the
Well,
character.
that's
You
just
know
a
what I mean?
cinematic view. That I mean, that's
I
like
mean,
like the movie was shot there
exactly. I
like
was like,
that.
"Oh, this is,"
That's a
because then
perfect frame.
the character or the enemy just drops, and I am there sheathing my. You just see now
Exactly,
me sheathing. I'm like, that wasn't on purpose, but damn, that was good. You know.
that looked awesome. I can
So
imagine.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely. I really, especially especially if you like open world games of any of those caliber, Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, or any of these, I highly recommend that you play this game, because this game is just one that does it really, really, really well. And it does little things, that little quality of life things. There's these shrines that are high up in the mountain, and you go up there and you kind of you basically bow in front of the shrine, and it kind of unlocks something, whatever, right?
Mhm.
And now you're like, well, it took me 10 minutes to come up here, but when you go back down, there's this little option: do you just want to descend the mountain? Boom, you descend the mountain, you're at the bottom
You're
again.
back down.
You
You
don't
don't
have
have
to
to.
fucking, yeah, you don't
Nice.
have to figure your way back down. You know what I mean? And it's just a little quality of life thing, like the thing with grabbing the items and the flowers and stuff, or the trees or twig, whatever supplies that you're trying to grab. You don't even have to get off your horse. You just got to get near it and hit the button, and he grabs it. Like that's
Oh, that's good.
great.
That's good. Yeah.
That's it's little things like that Sucker Punch really figured out and put it in. You know what I mean? And sure, does
They
it
know
make
how to
sense?
do.
You know?
They know how to do proper word traversing.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, yeah, for
they're
sure. Yeah.
definitely good.
And by the end, I was just fast traveling everywhere. Because I was like, I've unlocked pretty much everything. So I'm just,
Mm.
and his fast travel, like I said, is seconds long. It's a second or two, and you're there. You know what I mean? I'm like, I can only imagine if it wasn't, how much longer this game would have felt. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
anyway, I'm glad I'm over it. I think I'm a little gamed out at this point, because, like, just Last of Us, which took me 30 something hours, and then this one, which took me way over 50, 60 hours to do. So I feel like I'm either gonna just kind of chill for a minute, you know what I mean, or maybe pick
Fall
up something small,
Guy.
or Fall Guy, you know what I mean, something that doesn't require a big investment. I think is what I'm gonna jump into next. But
They
but
already
yeah,
got
that's
everything that Sony has to offer. Sony had to offer. So
yeah,
I
pretty
think you're
much. I
done.
mean,
I think
at
you're
this point,
Sonyed
yeah.
out already.
I can I can sunset my PlayStation 4. Listen,
Yeah.
it's funny because my PlayStation 4 got messed up, and then we had to resuscitate it. Uh, you know, I noticed something that I guess it wasn't synced well with my TV and everything, but
Mm.
now that everything is, I had to clear it out and put everything back in. It's synced perfectly with my TV and my entire system, that all I have to do is switch over to the two options. I either switch over to the input, and it turns on my PlayStation 4, and my PlayStation 4 loads up, or if I'm watching TV or watching Alexa, I hit the button and it automatically switches over to the PlayStation 4. I don't have to do anything. It wasn't
Yeah.
doing that before, and I was like, man, this is great.
He, he know
So
he knows it's on his last leg and
the
he's
yeah,
gonna be replaced by
yeah,
uh
unfortunately it
bigger and
will.
more
PlayStation
beautiful.
5. Yep,
Yeah.
and I'm not even gonna feel sad about it. So it's just the
Wow.
way that works.
All the time. All
Uh,
the happiness that it gave you.
yeah, it did, and I'm not doubting it. But at some point you move on. It's just the way of the world.
The way
Uh,
It's the
gamer
circle of life.
of gamer life.
yeah. I did watch a few things. I won't spend too much time on it. I saw this documentary, which I think I can definitely recommend. It's just one of the things where it's hard to recommend because of this subject matter. It's called "I Am Not Your Negro," and it's actually almost like a biography of this guy James Baldwin, who was a political activist from back in the '60s, like that. He passed away a little early in his life, but he was also connected with Martin Luther King and with Malcolm X, and I can't remember the other guy, and he was kind of familiar and friends with them, to the point that they were all killed. Obviously, Martin Luther King was killed, Malcolm X was killed, So anyway, kind of tells his story. You can almost see why he is a little bitter, you know what I mean, and with America in general. And But it's a really, regardless of of who you are or where you come from, it's one of those things where it just kind of you kind of you kind of see, through the eyes of of the things that he, and it's, by the way, it's narrated, or the person who plays his voice is none other than Samuel Jackson, which is
Oh, wow.
which took me a while,
How many
like,
motherfuckers
yeah,
were?
I know. No, it was because he was reading off what James Baldwin wrote, and James Baldwin was not a motherfucking type of guy. He was a very eloquent speaker. Used to debate a lot. He actually had a famous debate that you can actually find on YouTube with a guy in England, a major debate, and it was actually, it's really fascinating. But it
Wow.
may be boring for some, but I found it extremely fascinating. But anyway, no, it took me a while. Like, it was like a little more than halfway through the movie. I was like, honey, that sounds like Samuel Jackson, but since I haven't heard a curse, I'm not entirely sure. You I'm like, I don't know. And then, of course, the credits roll, and boom, there's his name, and I'm like,
Samuel Jackson.
man,
Yeah,
I
like, yep.
knew it, called him. Yeah. So he was voicing, because the guy, James Baldwin, was planning on making a film or a documentary, whatever. He got about 30 pages into the thing, and then he passed away. So this either what Samuel Jackson's reading is from those 30 pages. So throughout the film, and anyway, um, it's it's a good film. It's a good film. I can certainly recommend it. It's not going to be for everyone, especially if you're just not in the mood for that type of thing. But the other thing that I watched, or I went back to, is on Netflix, and it's The Umbrella Academy, because season 2 dropped. And
What is Umbrella Academy?
so Umbrella Academy it's based on a graphic novel, on a graphic novel, essentially. And so
Not Resident
it's
Evil.
huh?
Not Resident Evil.
No, not Resident Evil. So basically, it is an older rich man. There's these women that it happened sometime in the, I don't know, in the 70s or something like that. These women got pregnant and delivered a baby all in one day. And it was a strange thing. Nobody knows how it happened or what made it happen, but it happened. This rich billionaire, who was a little bit eccentric, decided to purchase 7 of these kids and raise them as his own, because he believed that they were special in some way, or they had there was something that was
That's what they call you when you're rich and crazy. They just call you eccentric.
yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much. Yeah. I
An
mean,
easier way to saying rich and crazy.
if you're not rich, then you're just a nutcase.
I mean, if you're poor and crazy, they just call you.
Yeah, yeah.
Which
You're
is funny.
crazy, but when you're rich, you're eccentric.
You're yeah, you're absolutely right.
Double standard.
It is. It's the truth. I mean, you can't even deny it. But anyway, so the story, he calls them the Umbrella Academy, and they actually become sort of heroes. But as they get older, they kind of fall apart, or grow apart. And then the story of the show starts when they're already kind of separated. The father, I think, it starts with him passing away. This is season 1, like episode 1. He passes away, and that's kind of what brings them all back together. So not really a spoiler. It's just what happens. But he always referred to them by number, never actually by their name. So obviously they all have daddy issues.
Yeah, I was gonna say, shows how much she cared.
Yeah, exactly.
I was thinking more of oh, this is Hitman, isn't it?
No. Because they're all in their own ways. They all act young and do silly young things, even though they're all grown. One of them, Luther, is like this huge buff looking dude, but I mean, it almost looks weird how buff he is. You know what I mean? But it was done on purpose. Number 2 is Diego, which is this wannabe Batman type of dude who can throw knives and curve them in the air. That weird type of thing. Anyway, they all have these abilities, and it's an interesting story. There's a little bit of time travel involved. Season 2, or rather,
Wow.
season 1 ended with a little bit of a cliffhanger. So season 2 kind of kicks off, and it just like I was like, I feel like I need to get a recap of this, and then I found a recap on YouTube, and so I watched it. I was like, okay, okay, good. Now I'm kind of caught up, because it's not that complicated. But then when I started watching season 2, I got hooked again. I was like, oh yes, this is so good. You can also see there's more budget in season 2, which season 1 didn't have, but that's normal. Yeah, that's normal. So yeah, that's Umbrella Academy. I haven't finished the season yet, but I'm probably gonna jump right back into it. Maybe not want to get off here, but definitely before the end of the weekend. So, but anyway, that, ladies and gentlemen, is all that I have been doing. And we guys are back with the useless news that you can use. Starting from the top, you figured I'd have it in my hand, but I don't. We were talking about. We got lost into.
It's pretty bare this week.
That is
well,
only because we're saving things for later.
That is true. There are some major hot moments that we're saving. Yeah. So I'm going to start here with Control. Control limits free next gen upgrades to its new Ultimate Edition. Remedy's Control is getting a $39.99 Ultimate Edition that bundles every update and bit of downloadable content that has been released since the game originally launched in 2019. It will come out on August 27th on Steam for PC, then on September 10th on the Epic Game Store and both PlayStation 4 and Xbox One digitally. Notably, buying this new console version will serve as a ticket that grants you free digital upgrade to the PS5 and Xbox Series X version via smart delivery when it becomes available. That's great and all, but unfortunately, that means people who bought the game when it originally released won't get the same next gen.
We'll get shafted.
Getting the shaft.
According you for supporting us at the very beginning.
I know. Thank you for being there right at the get-go. But yeah, according to publisher 505 Games site, which sidebar could be where this is coming from. That's
I bet 100%. Yeah.
The quote free upgrade path to Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5 version of Control is only available for the Control Edition. End quote. So
it's only available. Oh, that poor thing. They don't have anymore. You don't understand. It's not their fault. They just ran out.
I mean, yeah, it's possible. Digital data is not endless, right?
Yeah, it's just unfortunately, though that original version. Do you think it still had it in it to produce the next gen? Come on, man. Don't be cruel.
In short, this is a dick move from whoever's doing it. If it's going, and I have a feeling that it'll probably change in the future, but for now, just the fact that it even made sense to announce it this way, it's like, come on, guys. I mean, that's just there's just no reason behind it. Yeah, there's no reason behind it.
It's unfortunate because it's basically it might as well at that point just don't say, oh, we're gonna let you upgrade. And not say, just fucking say double dip. Just go ahead and double dip.
Yeah.
You want the PlayStation 5 version? Buy the PlayStation 5 version. Don't say, oh, we're gonna let you upgrade if you buy it now. It's like and that'll be a stupid move, because Control has been out there long enough to where you can find pretty good deals on it already.
Yeah, and
you're gonna spend the full price.
Yeah, this is why I agree with whoever posted. I mean, maybe Ramiro posted that it may be a 505 thing.
For sure.
Because the sales of Control didn't blow anybody away. You know what I mean? It was personally, it was one of my favorite games of last year. But sales wise, it really didn't move units. It didn't stand out anywhere. And this is probably 505 going, no, if we are going to bring it to it, then what I mean, as a business. While I guess I can see you're wanting to make up for whatever it is that you put into it, sure, but this is still a dick move. You know what I mean? In the end, this is still a dick move, and it's not. And the sad part is, it's probably going to work. You know what I mean? It'll probably work. It'll probably get people to either double dip or, At that point, it's not like
Yeah.
Xbox has anything to, specific as far as exclusive to jump into. So hey, why not try this game I didn't try you know, last generation? So
Yeah. I mean,
maybe
I wouldn't say that it's anti-consumer, but it's definitely a dick move.
it's a big move for sure.
And scene. It is totally anti-consumer. If you guys don't know, I keep referring. Please don't miss episode the one before this one. It was epic.
The one
Where it was
before this one.
it
The one
was
before this
all
one
about
was
anti-consumerism.
it was epic. It was chaos. I can't wait for you to listen to this because it was. I mean, MacDoc sold out basically at that point.
Wow.
He just sold out. He just sold like
According to Dream Twister, yes, I sold out.
you're listening to his words and you're like, is this real life? No, I'm just fucking. I'm just fucking. I'm just fucking. Mike Dunn defended his position very well, and I appreciate it. And he's a person that I love and will respect a lot, uh, even when he's anti-consumer.
All
Street
right, who has the
Fighter,
next piece? Yeah.
Street Fighter producer Yoshinori Ono quits Capcom. Now
Oh,
this was kind of
Oh.
this was shocking. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I would say
The
so.
veteran producer who helmed 20 for 25 years Street Fighters. Actually, sorry, he helmed Street Fighters revival. Leaves after more than 25 years, so 25 years with the company. He had done more than just Street Fighter, by the way. Street Fighter producer, veteran Capcom developer Yoshinori Ono has resigned from the company and will leave Capcom this summer, he announced on Sunday. In a message on Twitter, Ono addressed criticisms of this year's Capcom Pro Tour tournament, the tournament structure. The format moved entirely online due to the coronavirus pandemic and revealed his impending departure. And then there's a quote from him that says, I've been with the Street Fighter brand for a long time, experiencing good times and bad times, and even no, and even non-existent times. Oh no, what the hell? I put the question mark. I put the question mark there. By the way, he says the good time, the bad time, and even the non-existent one. I'm gonna shock that one to probably a translation error. Uh, my heart is filled with appreciation to those players who who have been giving warm and kind support on the brands, especially little over the past decade or so, as all
Where's
the
Mega Man,
activities
bitch?
uh, was making man. Anyway, after serving more than 30 years at Capcom, I am leaving the company with this in this summer. This means I will resign my position as a brand manager for Capcom's various titles, including Street Fighter. Uh, ono, Ono joined Capcom in the early 90s and worked as a sound producer on the Street Fighter series. He's likely best known as the producer of Street Fighter 4, which revived the brand after nearly a decade-long hiatus. Um, Ono served as executive producer on a variety of Capcom franchises, including Monster Hunter, The Darkstalkers, and oversaw Dead Rising Studios' Capcom Vancouver as a director.
Mm.
And then he goes to say that he was most energetic when he, in his producer role in Street Fighter Five. Capcom announced that in May that it will extend support for Street Fighter V, first released in 2016, all the way to 2021, with a fifth season of characters and gameplay updates. So that game is still going. Uh, another case of the game got released incompleted and everybody hated it so much, and then now they're overcompensating with support. The only difference is that you have to pay for the support.
Mm-hmm.
But that's okay because they actually there was one upgrade that I appreciated, which was when they converted it into the arcade edition or something like that. And I tried that, and I was like, okay, this is an update. This is an update I can appreciate. If I was more into Street Fighter, or if I was more into Street Fighter, I'll probably see the flaws here and there, but this is fine. This is fine. This feels like a complete package. Anyway, it's sad to see that to see him go. Obviously, you've heard that name.
Yeah, it's synonymous with Capcom at this point. Yeah.
Yeah. As synonymous as Mega Man, some might say. Maybe not. Maybe no
Yeah.
one would say that actually.
That's the other guy. I can't remember his name now, but yeah. I know
Oh
who
yeah,
you're
that
talking
was another guy. The other
Yeah.
guy.
The other guy.
Yes. Yeah. Fresh Fox.
Uh-huh.
All right. So I have here Apex Legends Season 6 is bringing changes to World's End's map. And I'm reading this off of GameSpot. By the way, Apex Legends Season 6 is happening on August 17th.
Okay.
Okay. Are you
Yeah.
still
Playing? Oh, God. No. Did I just tell you I've only been playing Destiny? I meant that.
What part of that are you not listening, sir?
It probably has been like 3 weeks since I last played Apex.
Mm.
But I've also been having problems with it because every time I try to log in, it says that my account is what does it says? Oh, that it
Overused?
doesn't qualify, unqualifiable or some shit like that.
Oh, damn. Really?
Yeah. So I spoke with EA and they made me reset my password and like, oh yeah, it's gonna be fixed. Don't worry. I try to log in, it still doesn't qualify. Like what?
Wow.
So I've been having that problem. So I mean, I tried playing it once my wife started playing again. We tried to play it, but it wouldn't let me.
Mm.
So Destiny 2 it is.
Oh, what a
like I
shame.
said, I'm reading this off of GameSpot, and Season 6 of Apex Legends on its way, and with it comes some new changes to the map. According to Apex design director Jason McCord, these changes are meant to inject some newness into the map and will create more viable play options in the lava fields, create better options for navigating rough choke points, and introduce a whole new map mechanic. The first notable change is the addition of the launch site, a new drop point that's now occupying a previously empty lava field. The launch site is another of Hammond Industries' concoctions and feature 4 different control rooms set to have a ton of loot and a new passage so you can rotate through this part of the map like never before. Super exciting, I tell you. This new area will also serve to provide a variety of traversal options as it's near both the dome and the sorting factory because you guys know where that is, right? Off the top of your heads?
Clearly, yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Apex Vet will remember the drill site. Yes, I do. Well, it's being replaced by Countdown, another large Hammond facility whose purpose remains unknown. At its center, it's a pit that boasts some pretty stellar loot, but beware, if you aren't in control of this area before delving below, you may be in for a bad time. Countdown is built to be a pretty formidable fortress that even includes 3 user-operated blast walls that can be used to fortify the approach from Skyhook, Lava Train, and Train Yard. These walls are new mechanic for the map that allow for new ways to attack and defend and can found in launch site, countdown, and staging. Whew. And last but not least, another big change to go with these walls is that the train has not only been stopped, it's being dismantled. Now, players will be able to find pieces of it spread around the train track in World's End, and this will provide more cover in previously empty tunnels and should give players more options for navigating tricky choke points. 2 new geysers have also been added, so getting around has never been easier. So, yeah.
That's a
Apparently,
lot of changes.
that
That
is
is,
quite
yeah.
a few changes.
Yeah.
But
I'll say.
it's all map related. I haven't seen the trailer for season 6 yet, but I will be checking it out. I'm expecting a new character will be announced or something.
Yeah, I believe I saw that last week. We didn't mention it because, to be honest, that's more your news. So we just kind of skipped over.
Just-
we
But
just
I did
we just leave
hear-
those for you.
But I think I saw that they were looking to announce a new character. So I didn't catch the name or anything like that. Listeners, just put in the comments what the name is, and we'll talk about it next week. So my next
Sounds
piece
good to me.
is Vampire: The Masquerade Bloodlines 2 has been delayed until 2021. The long-awaited follow-up will be delayed once more to give the team more time to perfect the game. After a 16-year wait and one previous delay, Vampire The Masquerade Bloodlines 2 has been delayed again, 2021. Publisher Paradox Interactive and developer Hardsuit Lab haven't indicated when in the year the sequel will be likely to release. just that it won't be dropping anytime before the end of 2020. The responses to the delay have been largely positive, with the wait of 16 years behind them since the original game back in 2004. Vampire Masquerade fans are used to waiting at this point. The reason given for the delay is that the developers need more time to deliver the best game possible, the usual blurb that they mention whenever they have to delay something. So this
Yeah,
game, I was actually like, I know of the original Vampire game, but I don't like, I never played it. I think it was a PC game, or maybe it came out
yeah.
to Xbox also. Um, but never, it was never in the ecosystem I'm in, so it just kind of whatever. But since like I've been following the progress of this game for actually longer than even when it was announced. I was like, oh man, I've never heard of this game, but it just kind of caught my eye. So it kind of sucks, but it is what it is. Delay
It is. It
2021.
is a. It is. It's a good game, and or at least the first one was, and I can see. I can definitely see what attracts you because it is it obviously very noir, very
Hmm.
vampire. Obviously, the whole world the world building on that game is or was fantastic on the original one, and I've been also seeing the development of the second one, and yeah, it's sad to see that it has been delayed, but also I want this game to really stand
Yeah,
out.
we want it to exactly. Yeah, we
Yeah,
want to hit it out of the park. So
yeah,
there's no
absolutely.
room for sevens, as they say.
Speaking of games that have definitely stand out, Fall Guys has sold 2 million Steam copies in a week.
Yes.
The brightly colored battle royale Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout has shifted 2 million copies on Steam since its launch on August 4th. The game is also currently available on PlayStation 4, where it's part of this month's PlayStation Plus offering. There's no word yet on how many more people are playing there. I don't know, but I guess a gajillion. If a gajillion is a acceptable level of um,
Measurement of
measurement
quantity.
of quantity, I would
Mhm.
say yeah, a gajillion probably.
I hear it's
Uh,
doing very well, and also hear that the initial hit to the servers um, was way bigger than obviously the developer was
oh yeah,
expecting.
oh yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, but they
Absolutely.
it looks like they responded quickly to fix certain things, so that's good.
Yeah, actually, speaking of that, actually, it does say that so many people turn up on day one that they had to take the the servers offline for maintenance.
They,
Yeah, yeah. There were further issues over the weekend, yet even more players flooded in. Uh, and developer Mediatonic has said that it is working on a longer term fix. Over the weekend, Fall Guy had more than 100,000 people playing on Steam at the same time. So that's more than GTA 5. And it was doing particularly well on Twitch. Da-da-da. The words from the developer says it has been overwhelming and humbling to watch the launch and reception of Fall Guys. Mediatonic boss Paul Croft said, we're incredibly grateful to all of our players for their support, and we have big plans for the game in the future. We're thrilled by the response and can't quite believe how beloved our little jelly beans have already become. I think they had a they had a fantastic way of releasing this. They basically followed the formula of Rocket League, and of course it paid off because they have
for sure,
the
yeah.
type of game that will that will by the type of game that it is. Obviously, it invites a lot of people to play in. I think the idea of putting it in PSN for free that that month was fantastic. It will only do nothing but help its sales.
Hmm.
And the reason why I wanted to bring it up here, even though we don't normally tend to bring numbers of particular titles on particular platforms, but the reason I included it here was because we're talking about Steam, a platform where this is not free. You have to pay full price for it.
Hmm.
Not that the full price is anything exorbitant. I think the game is what $20.
Yeah, sounds right.
Uh,
Let me
yeah,
see.
and so obviously there's more to it. It's not because it's not, oh well, of course it's doing well, it's free on PlayStation, network. No, it's more like the fact that it is free on PlayStation Network. It's helping, spread the word to the people that are like, well, this game, I enjoyed this game a lot. I'll go ahead and buy it. And you can bet that this is not gonna stay a exclusive. Right?
No, no, and it's not. It's not exclusive right now anyway. So,
Oh,
yeah, it is. Yeah, 1999, and then they have a collector's edition 29.99. Let me see what that bundle info has.
probably
Uh,
more skins.
more skins, probably. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's probably what it is.
yeah,
All right, good stuff. I'm happy for
it
them.
is. Yeah, me too. Me too.
Okay, how do I even
Tackle
how
this one.
do I even tackle this monster?
It feels like you're talking about patches more than us.
The news. Final Fantasy 14 online. To those who didn't know it was online. Patch 5.3 and all of its glory.
Here we go. Chapter 1.
Sit down, relax, and enjoy the ride, guys.
This came out 4 days ago. It probably will take me 4 days to relate everything.
All right. There's going to be part 1 of the podcast.
Kidding aside, they're updating the free trial. It's going to include up to Heaven's Word for free, and the level cap will be raised to 60. You'll be able to play as a Dark Knight, the I don't know if it's Machinist or I think it's Machinist, right? Because I always said it like that.
Mm.
Anyways, the Dark Knight, the Machinist, and the Astrologian. The aura race is going to be available, which is the race that I am, because hell yeah. And also the Palace of the Dead, which is basically this 4-man dungeon grind that you do to level up your characters.
Mhm.
Mm.
That's really what it was used for, though there is a quest related to it. They're streamlining the main scenario quest from A Realm Reborn, if they're including Heaven's Sword, I imagine all the way up to Heaven's Sword. And once you finish the Ultima Weapon quest, you'll be able to fly in the A Realm Reborn areas, which, by the way, I haven't done that yet. I mean, I haven't played in a while, true, but even up to where I played as, you still can do that. I'm just trying to scroll here because there's like things for the UI and the cross hotbar, level and play as any role, main scenario quest and side quest. Holy hell! Traveling and mounts, matchmaking, combat. There is a lot of things they updated. You can look this up on the PlayStation blog if you want to read through all this, because I am not gonna read all of it. But to me, those were the most important things.
Cool.
I
Major
feel like
updates.
if you were part of a news network, you'd be like, holy shit, there's a lot
All of
happening
this.
today. On the stock market. It's like, I'm not even going to read it because it's just way too much shit. You guys can look it up. Anyway,
Yeah, just go to this website. You can look at it yourself.
let's go to Shopper Dave. No, no, I'm actually, I like the idea of this patch. I'm actually quite happy to hear that they have streamlined that. They have basically streamlined the entirety of A Realm Reborn, so that section you could get through it. You have a tighter experience. You could get through it a little bit quicker enough, and just jump and start jumping into the expansions. And the fact that they give you Heaven's Sword, Heaven's Sword, whatever the expansion is.
Heaven's Word.
Heaven's
Thank
Word, yeah.
you. Uh, for free now, it is extremely cool. When I say for free, they mean it, right? You don't have to buy the best game. You can just download it and start playing, and you'll be capped or something, but you can play it. Is that right? Okay.
Say that again.
With it's this almost like a free to play. At the beginning, do you still have to buy into Final Fantasy 14, or can I
No, no,
just
I
download
don't
it
even
and?
think you need a. I don't think you even need a subscription to play it up to Heaven's Word.
Okay, gotcha. So that's a lot of content that you could just be playing.
Oh, there's a lot to do there. I mean, even
Yeah,
they streamlined it. Just the fact that all the classes are available, there's hundreds of hours you can invest in that game.
there you go. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Awesome.
So yeah.
Well,
That's all I got, gents.
actually, I'm actually out of any other news except for another major part, but I'll let Dreamy handle that one.
Okay. So, um, oh, can I get this one out of the way real quick? Because I
Sure.
just
Yeah.
It's all you,
so
bro.
EA unifies EA Access and Origin, and now they're rebranding it as just EA Play. So there it is. It's no longer going to be known as EA Origin, which I thought it was a terrible name, and EA Access, and having both, having EA Origin and EA Access for consoles was confusing,
Confusing.
to say the least. Uh, and as long as we are in rebranding names, I think uh, we might have. I don't think we mentioned it, but Amazon renames Twitch Prime, and they now call it Prime Gaming, which is the opposite. This one sounds horrible. They should have left it. There
Yeah.
was nothing wrong with Twitch Prime. There was absolutely nothing wrong with Twitch Prime. Anyway,
I really like
the,
Twitch
the,
Prime.
Yeah. Ta-da.
uh, there's no reason for it I don't know. That was kind of,
Stupid.
I would say. I am looking for my piece of news now, and I can't find it. So, gents, talk among yourselves. What I
I have it here if you want me to start it off.
struggle. You know what? You might as well, because for some reason I didn't even mark it down, even though. Okay, so all right. So I'm just gonna recall from memory because I don't have the I don't have what it is. You interject, but actually, go ahead and start us with the
Actually, no.
news.
Actually, I'm looking at it, and this is not the right one. So you do it from memory, sir.
Fuck it.
Do it.
So, dude, a couple days ago, uh, Epic Games, decided that they were not happy with the contract that they had already established with two of the, well, actually, the only
Two
two,
platforms.
I would say, major phone uh, platforms, yeah, app platforms, that being the Apple Store and Google Play, right? And they went ahead and what can only be described as a brass cojones super ballsy move. They went ahead and uh, they installed this. They circumvented basically the method of getting DLC, or in this case the so-called V Bucks from Fortnite, from their
Mm-hmm.
most famous title, on both platforms. They went ahead and circumvented the method where people could actually buy V Bucks. Um, since, for those who don't know, every time you make a transaction on Fortnite, let's say for example on the iOS store or the Apple store, I don't fucking know what it's actually called. Um, you have to pay, basically you have to pay 30% of that transaction to Apple. Apple gets a 30% cut on that transaction. So, and they have, I mean, that's the way every developer plan it's playing basically. You want to serve content on it, you either accept it and pay it and give us 30% cut, or you don't get to sell your stuff on our platform, like the Kindle apps does, where I always wonder why it was odd that you couldn't buy even the audiobooks. You couldn't buy them directly from the app. You had to actually go to Amazon, and I always wondered, like, what the hell is that for? Why? Now I know why. It's because Apple
Mm-hmm.
will get 30% of those sales. There you go. Or in the case of Google Play, because Google also does the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So and that's a contract. So Epic goes ahead and puts this option on Fortnite where you can buy V Bucks directly from them. If you buy V Bucks directly from Epic rather than going through the normal means of Apple, they give you like a 20% off or something like that. Uh, and they presented it like very crass. It was like right there. It was so obvious
Yeah, they
that it
weren't
got
even
me
trying to
thinking.
hide it. Yeah.
They weren't
Mhm.
even trying. No, exactly. It was like blatant. It was right there, and I was like, "What the hell? Why? What were you guys thinking? Of course you're gonna get banned from the store, because Apple. This did not even take a couple of hours at most. Apple went ahead and removed the game from the Apple's App Store.
Mhm.
Google did the same thing, but actually it took longer for Google to react. I believe they did it like the next day.
Yeah.
But Apple wasn't playing around. They just went ahead and boop quickly. And I'm like, well, of course. Of course you're gonna get your game out, suddenly. If you have a contract, if you've signed off a contract and now you're saying, well, I'm gonna do this instead, it'll be very stupid for you to expect. And then it hit me. And I was like, oh, wait a minute.
Of course, it's obvious.
Of course, it's obvious. They wanted to make it obvious. They wanted to be obvious because here's the fucked up thing. They wanted this to happen. This is exactly their plan. This is what they wanted to happen all along. So once Apple has no choice but to remove the app from the store, um, they could go ahead and sue Apple, which they immediately did.
Mhm.
A little bit of a couple of hours later, it was almost like this is going exactly as planned for Epic.
Yeah.
In an Epic plan, basically. Let's
That
just
is
say.
some Palpatine levels of scheming.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, yes. It was very, very obvious what the hand was doing here. Um, they so they follows and did a lawsuit against Apple and Google Play. But not only that, they take it away. This is how you know they had this plan all along. They take it even a step further. Well, they already had a video prepared. And gentlemen, have you guys seen this video?
I have.
Yes.
Okay, so if you haven't seen the video, I will invite you first to YouTube uh, Apple's 1984 video. It's a very famous commercial that got aired during the Super Bowl, during that year, and it was as an introduction for the Apple Macintosh when it was getting revealed. In typical Apple way, they portrayed at that time their bitter rival enemy, which was IBM.
Mhm.
They portray it at this as this totalitarian ruler. It has this person talking in this big screen. The whole thing looks very black and white and very the name escapes me of the director of that commercial, but it's a very famous commercial because back then it was very well done. And it basically has this group of people that are basically zombified looking at the screen, and how this Olympian looking lady just comes out running, a full fledged of guards running behind her, and she is running with a hammer, and she goes ahead and throws the hammer at the screen, and he shatters the image of the totalitarian rule, as he's saying something along the lines of "we will prevail," or him being very Palpatine. And then of course that's supposed to be like the break of the rule. Well, Epic Games went ahead and pretty much lampooned that same commercial.
Mhm.
They made it with Fortnite characters, of course, they had a figure that the totalitarian ruler was a figure of an apple head. It was a
Complete with
person
with
with
a
the shape
worm
of
and
a
everything. Yeah,
huh?
complete with a worm and everything.
Exactly, yeah, because he has the bite taken out of it because it's meant to be obviously the Apple logo with the worm coming out of the hair, out of the head, and everything. And it's just basically it's that episode, and they want to portray this feeling of rallying, rallying the forces against the totalitarian rule of this company. In this one specific, obviously I'm putting apples, but that this is also directed at Google. And I thought it was hilarious. And I'm not gonna lie, I freaking loved it. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it's stupid. I'm not gonna say it's not stupid because it's stupid. Um, it is it is a little almost comes tasteless
It's
is
a
not the
little
word because
bit,
it's not
it's a little
tasteless.
bit
It's actually
rash.
quite well
Yeah.
done.
I
But
mean, yeah, it is, but I think it's a little I think it's a little. I don't know, bro. I don't know.
I'll tell you
I don't
what
know.
I'll tell you what it is. It is they're basically it's two mega corporations fighting each other to be the ones that make more money, and this is you know it in no way this is for our benefit, or at least they're not doing it for our benefit. Even if even if Epic tries to paint it as something that it is whatever. um, but they're using us.
It's
Basically
a
they're using
yeah,
the
it's a dirty it's a dirty plot to essentially use the consumer as
mm,
a tool to bend the will of Apple in this case, or even
mm.
or Google at the same time. Um and it's just dirty, bro. It's just it smells dirty, it looks dirty. It's just like the fact that mere minutes or hours after they pulled the game, they issued their lawsuit, which
They had the last already.
yeah, it was that means it was already written and ready to go to be filed and everything,
Uh,
and it was because they knew. So
And you
and
see
then
that that filing, it's like 60 something pages long, which is not
it
the
is.
longest filing
Yeah.
ever, but you could tell that it was ready.
It wasn't,
It
yeah,
was
it
at the
wasn't just
ready.
written today. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Or that day. It is definitely I mean, so I think we can all agree that, developers in general should get a little bit more of the cut. All right. And I think everybody
Yes.
can agree with that. And Epic has been on that horse since they started the Epic Game Store. You know what I mean? They're
Yes.
the ones who pioneered, was it 12% that goes
Yeah,
to the
they even one of the and let it not. I mean, don't let's not get it twisted because I know that Epic gets a lot of unbridled hate for no reason because I'm not one of them. I actually I'm on the camp that I like what Epic has has done so far. Certainly trying to break the monopoly that Steam has
Mhm.
on the PC gaming, even though that will I'm betraying my prissy brethren right now by just saying those words. It seems like it's the
How
fun
dare you?
thing right now is to.
All those Steam purists out there are definitely judging you.
Oh, they have crucified me already, but you know what, it's fine because it's like it's the fun thing to do because it's Fortnite, because Epic has done it's Fortnite and Fortnite doesn't speak to them. Oh, therefore it's cool to hate on it. It's like it's like the company to hate of the week. It's like whatever. I still think that what they've done with developers, what like you mentioned, Mad Dog, with the opening of the store,
Mhm.
it is quite good, and it almost
It
seems
is.
novel if it wasn't for the fact that of course they can do it because they're in the position because they are making money. They have so much
Correct.
money from
Exactly.
Fortnite that it
Yep.
doesn't really hurt them that much, but at the same time
Well, they
they didn't
also
have to. And
yeah, they didn't have to. You're
Mhm,
absolutely right. They didn't have to actually do that at all. But the thing is that they are in everything. You know what I mean? They
mhm,
are the makers of Unreal 5, which
mhm,
is
yeah,
or the Unreal Engine in general. Unreal 5 is the newest one, of course.
yep,
Something that gets licensed by a lot of these developers.
yeah,
So they're already so on top of that. You know what I'm saying? You also have to look at it. Of course, they can cut you a little bit less on your publishing or putting their game on their store when you already have to license, the engine, that you use to make the
Mhm.
game, most likely, you know what I mean,
Well,
because it's one of the biggest engines. So they already have their hands in pockets as it is. So
Mhm.
to what makes this grimy is to make it look as this is a just cause for the consumer, right? When in the end, the
Mhm.
consumer, we I mean, in essence, none of us can care less. That's not that 30% that's going. It's not going into our hands. It's not suddenly being rebated back to us. It has nothing to do with this. It's Epic
I mean,
throwing its weight around.
I would
You know what I
argue
mean?
the opposite, though. I mean, not necessarily 100%, but to play devil's advocate, I would
Sure.
say I will probably say that yes, that 30% that they no longer have to to pay in royalties to Almighty Apple and Almighty Google could ideally, let's say, could roll down into, well, maybe our games don't need to be so super predatory in the way that they're marketing their DLC or their monetizations, which sounds
I
horrible,
would,
I
yeah.
know,
I
but I'm just
mean,
saying, if you want to if you want to look at it in a way that it could
not to
maybe
mention,
benefit a little bit, huh,
mhm.
not
the
to
consumer,
mention that you're talking about Epic Games that has all this money when they're going up against Apple and Google.
which has a lot of
Yeah,
money.
I
The
mean,
money,
that's what I'm saying. It's a bunch of corporations fighting over a buck, essentially.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Is really what it comes down to.
it's like
And
first world problems at its finest.
yeah, and it's and yes, I agree what you're saying that maybe that will lessen, but that's not how freaking companies work. They're not going to suddenly stop doing the other stuff that they do to try to make money. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Um, that's not going to happen. That's just more money in their pocket as
No,
far as they're
they already
concerned.
know
You
that
know
they
what I
can
mean?
get away with it. I'm just
Correct. Yeah,
saying,
exactly.
maybe slow the growth, basically,
Perhaps,
even
or
the curve, or
or
whatever we want to
even
say.
Yeah, or even
Oh,
if you look at game prices, perhaps game prices in general will take, will have a little bit of a, you know, a I don't know, reduction because of the fact that, well,
mm,
we don't have to pay 30%, so we don't have to charge this much for this game.
yeah,
Again,
yeah, yeah.
I don't see that happening. I think there is a
Mm,
specific $20 look to a game. There's a look at this game and it's like, yeah, that looks like a $20 game. Yep, that looks like a $40 game. And
yeah.
then when you get to it, yep, that looks like a AAA $60 game. Then I'm gonna suddenly start charging less. And I just feel like I honestly feel like this is just Epic throwing their weight around the way they did before when it came to crossplay, when
Hmm.
it came to many different things that they made it happen and it is suddenly just happened, or they pushed their way into it and it suddenly happened. And there is something commendable about that, but at some point there's also something dangerous about that, because at some point it's like, okay, so what you're saying is, yes, you're going up against the Apple and the Googles of the world so that you can be the next Apple and Google of the world, because that's essentially what it's going to be, right? So it's like we're trading one, conglomerate for another, who eventually, when they get to the top, they're going to, yep, we're good
Well,
now.
you would
We'll go
think
back to whatever we were doing before.
you would think if they're already doing and they are, you know pandering, not pandering, it's not the right word, but if they are flaunting so much the fact that, hey, you make more money on our store if you bring the games to the Epic store, and it has been proven already, you know indies and major publishers have already spoken to the fact that, yes, bringing the game to Epic makes us more money, regardless of like the backlash from the
From the
Steam,
gamers. Yeah.
from the gamers in general. It's just pure mathematics. The people that want the games, they're not gonna wait a year. They're gonna be a lot of people saying, oh well, fuck that, I'll wait until I actually gets released on Steam. No, fuck that. If you want to play, you're gonna get it regardless.
The
That has
numbers
happened.
say it all. Yeah.
The number has spoken on that. The reason why I think actually this is you mentioned that Epic Game is just throwing the weight around. Well, yeah, but so far it has benefited us. I mean, crossplay was one of the things you mentioned. We did not have crossplay until they started, like, pushing that, that way. And that's and I will argue that's probably one of the better accomplishments that they have gotten. Something that hasn't been done in gaming in forever and ever ago. Like, none of the platforms were willing to. Now I
Mhm.
can play games. I mean, there are gonna be games on PS5 and Xbox One X that you could talk to the other person who is in the other network completely, and that would not that you wouldn't think of that, that happened. With this thing, with the monetization, or with the percentage, I'd rather see the developers get paid more. At the end of it all, if the money, if I gotta choose, it's two evils, right? Yes, there's two devils, but if I had to pick one of them, then I'm gonna pick the one that I know and that I care about more, which is gonna be the developer,
No, I
the
got you.
developer, the publisher, rather than the platform holder, because I understand 100%. A contract needs to be matched. This is what
Yeah, I was gonna
this is
say
what
this is also a breach of contract.
yes, I
Which
I get that.
here's the downside to, let's say, for instance, Epic, wins this battle.
Hmm.
Suddenly those contracts, become NFL contracts. So you guys probably don't know about NFL contracts. So I'll give you an example. You get a contract for 3 years to play for this team, and it's worth this amount of money. It's a contract, and yet for some reason you can easily get kicked out of said contract. So the contract is basically as worth the paper that it's written on, and that's the scary thing that can happen. It's like, well, if they win, then any breach of contract, regardless of what it would be for any platform holder, for any reason whatsoever, can easily be overturned only because, hey, this is better for this particular people. You know what I mean? It's like, well, if it is, I get it. That's why you have your own platform to do that on. You know what I mean? The Epic
Hmm.
Game Store. So I get what you're saying, and to an extent I can agree, because sure, this is the lesser of two evils, but the reality is Apple was probably the lesser of two evils at one point, and so was Google, and eventually you get too big. What is it? The line, absolute power corrupts absolutely. You know what I mean? So eventually, you can get too big, and Epic may be the hero at the moment, but you know,
He's
maybe
the
not
hero that brought me cosplay, and he's the
the
hero that probably
sure.
they could potentially lower the price, or minimize the crazy monetization. All
By
I'm saying
breaching a
is that
contract. Yes, absolutely.
it is, by breaching. Well, at some point you will have to imagine that if something is not going well, or something is it's being unfair, even if it was, written in stone, at some point someone has to oppose to it. There got to be a
Mhm.
movement, in other words, which is what Epic, in a kind of silly and foolish way, is trying to do. I don't think that, getting the players, involved is necessarily the right way, but I would like to actually see a rewrite of those contracts. Maybe it is too much to expect the platform holder to get 30% of your ideas, of your invention, just because they hold a monopoly on the store, because that's basically what it is. It was like the case in the case of United States versus Microsoft in 2001, where Microsoft was basically not allowing, pretty much, because of the way that they were handling the browsers in Windows. It pretty much made it impossible for anybody for anybody else to uh, to install the contract. And Microsoft said, well, it is it is what it is. We own the platform.
Yeah,
But
that made sense
yeah,
at that
and
point
there
because
might
they
be a
were the
contract,
only
but
platform, though.
right, but you talk about a contract, but there could also be. I mean, there are laws that protects against this kind of stuff. There are antitrust cases. You might, I might argue that, or not me.
Yeah, yeah,
The lawyers are the ones arguing the fact that this is actually a clear case of an antitrust case. By Apple and Google having this duopoly in the market of phones. They can specify the pricing and say, well, today's going to be 30%. Tomorrow we decided to raise it 35% because we can. And if you want it to be here, here's a contract. And that's the part where it kind of like, yes, I understand the contract has its way, but there are laws to protect us against that kind of behavior also. And I will argue that
if it's yeah, if it's deemed
Google and Apple are definitely abusing their power. So that's
the
why
I
I
was
want
gonna
to see
say
a change.
if it's definitely deemed as an abuse of power, yes, then yes,
Yeah,
there's laws to protect that, but it has to be deemed that. Yeah, it has to be
yeah, that's
proven
why
that
it's going
that's
to
the
court.
case. Yeah, I know. I just
That's precisely. And the
yeah,
most important facet why I almost wanted to make this, the topic, and I might say that it is since we're talking since we're talking so much
we're
about
hanging
it.
on to it.
Uh, but the implications of this, whether they win or lose, it's big because it sets a precedent for the store markets on the consoles, you know,
Oh yeah,
uh,
absolutely. This
which
will
is
move the needle on. It will easily move the needle. I mean, like I said,
yes,
well, I may not have said this. I may have messaged somebody, but basically, yeah. I mean, if Google and Apple, excuse me, I'm opening a beer, but if Google and Apple, have to fold on this, then you better believe that Microsoft and Sony will. They will probably have paperwork already ready to go at that point. Going, look, I guess
yeah, a
you beat
contingency,
that, so
just in
here
yes, in
yeah,
case.
we're just gonna let you do it. At this
Yeah,
point.
and
So yeah,
at that point, that's the part where I say I believe they should. I believe 30%. You are 20% short of saying,
yeah,
well, half of
but
what you own is ours.
true,
you know.
true. Yeah, 20% short of that. But the option that they went with, or the thing that they implemented into the game, it went from 30% to zero,
No, no, yeah,
right?
yeah, no, no. That
So
obviously
yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's
that
another
was
thing to
that
say.
was a tool. That was a
It
tool.
was
That
a
were that
tool.
were not. I don't think in the right mind that we're saying, well, let us. We don't want to pay anything for it. No, 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 no. They're not. They're not about that. I'm sure because otherwise they'll be the ones doing the same thing on their store. And that's
But
not business.
true, but that can definitely be argued that this method that they went with, is also, the exact opposite of what they're trying to say. It's like, hey, we should pay less. Well, what you did was try to pay nothing. So you know what I mean? It's like essentially that's not the same thing. You know what I mean? So it's gonna be interesting what the outcome of it is. But I mean, like I said, I'm not saying I'm in any way saying that I'm siding with Apple and Google. I feel like I need to point out what side of the line I'm on nowadays, but
Tell
I'm
us
not.
more, corporate commander.
I'm not. I'm not. I'm definitely not on that side. I'm just
You're not
saying
a
that
chill.
that is for sure a a schemy way of trying to get your point across. And I don't know. I just feel like, and then on top of that, you're trying to use the consumers. Hey, hey, we try to do you guys well, and they took away your Fortnite. You know what I mean? And
They
suddenly,
took away your Fortnite. Yes, free
hashtag free
Fortnite.
Fortnite is all over
Hashtag
the
free
fucking
Fortnite.
place, and it's like, what? I feel like the method is just grimy, and it
They play
doesn't.
their hand too early.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like you
How
literally
though? How did they play it
because
early?
the same day
Because
they had all that information ready.
they already had the video ready. I mean, just
Yeah,
think
that's what they
about it.
wanted to do.
Uh,
Remember,
That's what makes it
this is their
grimy. That's what
plan.
I'm
Their
trying to
plan
say.
was not to make it a long, strong thing because the more you strong it, the costlier this is gonna become. They wanted to okay, let's make it happen. Let's just jumpstart Apple into banning us so we can bring this suit. Because otherwise, they don't have a reason to bring the suit because all they're gonna look at it and be like, well, I don't know, you sign a contract. So they want to make it like, no, this is an antitrust case, rather than no, this is we just don't want to pay anymore. Although automatically it is, we don't want to pay anymore the exorbitant 30%.
Yeah,
It is
exactly.
kind of exorbitant when you think
It
about it.
is, yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's a little bit. I don't know. It's a little bit. It's definitely grimy.
Yeah.
It's definitely bold. And I think I've said that word multiple times just in this podcast to say I can definitely appreciate a bold move, and that's a bold move.
Yeah, it is.
I just
It
don't
is.
know. I just don't know if a victory on Epic's side will be a victory on our side as well. You know what I mean? It may appear that way in the short term because they're doing and saying all the right things now,
Hmm.
but in the end, they are just another mega conglomerate that just wants to make that's already making billions and just saying, hey, these billions are not enough. We need at least a few more billion. And these guys are holding off those few more billion. So we have shareholders that we need to pay dividends on. So we're gonna need at least 20% of that 30% back, please, thank you. You know
Hey,
what I mean? It's just like it just I don't know. It just
listen,
feels
listen. Have I ever told you the story of the little company that went against the record companies, and they won even though they lost? You know which company I'm talking about, right? I'm talking,
I'm assuming it's Spotify.
no, I'm talking about
No.
Napster.
Oh,
I'm
Napster.
talking
Oh
about
yeah,
Napster. Remember Napster? Yeah,
I
you can
do remember
download your,
Napster.
for free, and that was the
I
thing. That was like,
remember. Yeah.
oh shoot, yeah. And
Yeah,
why did
but
that
this is
happen?
not
Naps,
Napster though. This
Napster
is a
got
giant
destroyed.
corporation.
Napster got not yeah,
Uh-huh.
but the what's the word? It's not. Yeah, you're right. Napster was not a big mega corporation, but what they achieved, though, I mean, they were basically the martyrs. That they were
Yeah.
erased out of existence, but they changed the record industry forever. They completely changed the way that everything used to be the same with the records and the CDs and the thing for years and years and years. And I'll come Napster and say, nope. Now you'll be able to buy your just the songs that you like, and you don't have to listen to the bullshit beast songs that you don't care about. And it happened. So if
And it
Epic,
can be
with the
argued that
ham-fisted way that they're doing this,
it did not bode well for the artists. in the it can be argued that way. So I'm just saying.
hey,
You know?
there is and I'm gonna argue maybe they were getting paid way too fucking much. Actually, it was not them. It was not them. You know
It
what?
was the
It was
record
not
label.
them. It was not them. The artists got screwed, of course, but by proxy. Because in reality, the company that got really screwed were the publishers, the record companies. Those were the one that got screwed. They were already screwing the artists anyway. So it affected more the pocket. Anyway,
So in
just
essence, everyone's just gonna get screwed. It's what's gonna
I,
happen here.
no. In closing, I just seriously, I want to say that yes, it was extremely silly the way they did it. But it's one of those things where, oh yeah, we sit down here and armchair, criticize like, oh yeah, well that's stupid. Okay, that's fair. But how else could it have happened? Like what would have been they needed a catalyst,
Mm-hmm.
so they went for it. And the fact that they did it makes me happier to see than if they just conform with just paying the outrageous tax that Google and Apple is imposing, and that PSN and Xbox and Steam might be
Impulse as
imposing.
well.
I
Yeah.
honestly, I don't know exactly what are the terms. I don't think
It
that
is
is
30%. Yeah.
it is 30
Well, it is on
also.
PlayStation. Yeah. I know it's on PlayStation. I
That's
don't know.
fucking ridiculous. That's kind of ridiculous. It's time to bring it
Well,
down, even if a
it is.
smidgen.
It can be argued again. It's ridiculous, but at the same time, if that's the industry standard, then it's not that ridiculous. I
Well,
mean, if the industry standard
hence
is 30 and they're
hence the
doing
reason why it
40,
needs to change. Just because
perhaps.
it's the status quo doesn't make it right.
No, for sure. I'm not saying it is. Yeah, but I'm just
Yeah,
saying it's not like they're all charging the same thing. So can you really say they're all overcharging? You can only say they're all overcharging now because Epic is undercharged. But again, they're undercharging because they can because they get you in other ways. You know what I
yeah,
mean? So
yeah,
they
yeah,
look
yeah.
like the quote unquote hero, but in the end, especially if you're licensing that engine. Yeah, they're getting their
They're getting it. Yeah,
their
they're getting money. But let's not forget that's the engine that they created, and that it has brought out some of our favorite games, of new and old. So they're not just an evil company that is just sitting down on some patents and
Mhm.
enforcing their ownership over them. They're obviously doing work. And Fortnite, whether you like it or not, it's definitely not my type of game. And it was an accidental success, but a success nevertheless. And it speaks to some people. It brings new players. It's not for me, but I'm not gonna shit on it just because, well, it's not for me.
I remember a
And
specific time that we were looking at the best games of this decade, and man, you were so not on the Fortnite camp at that point.
I know, I know. What did we put Fortnite in? What did we do with it?
Fortnite was number one, and you
Oh,
were
Fortnite was
adamant
number
against it.
one.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, but even I had to agree that there hasn't been another. Well, I think I went to Minecraft there. Actually, I think it might have been. I don't know. Uh, anyway, if there's a chance, like and this is going to be my final words, and then you can finish up. Um, if there right now the way the status quo is, there's no chance that consumers are going to get any remuneration. They're just not. There's not a chance that they could get a chance there, an opportunity, maybe a break into maybe games not being like super ridiculously motherfucking crazy with monetizations. You guys have to watch what's coming down the pipe from
From
that
Square
that
Enix.
new Marvels game. Oh my
Yeah.
god, oh my god, that is the new anthem if there has ever been one.
Mhm.
um, but I feel like if suddenly developers and publishers don't have to pay as much, because they should pay or something, because obviously they need to pay. There's got to be some tax. I'm not saying that they shouldn't be. There got to be some tax for being on that platform, because the platform is handling a lot of the downloading, a lot of the hosting, yada yada yada. So, but if the developers don't have to suddenly be paying that much anymore, then at least there is a chance, even if it's not taken, at that point you can argue then, well, fuck Epic, they of course they lie, of course they, but that we'll cross that bridge when we get there. The way that things are right now, there is zero chance versus maybe 1 or 2% of it happening. I'll take the 1 or 2%.
Possibility.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
yeah.
Fair enough. All
So
right,
you're
guys.
telling me there's a chance?
So you're saying there's a chance? That's a good movie. All right, guys. So that is the end of our topic there, and we'll be right back with our hot topic of the week.
Hot topic.
And we are back, guys, and it is now time for our hot topic of the week.
Hot topic.
Hot topic.
All right, so our hot topic again, guys, is Xbox Doom and Gloom.
No,
no question
it's
mark.
Xbox Doom and Gloom.
That's
It is
not
a
how we
question
have
mark.
it written, so we're
No,
going to go
I-
with how the
I
official
proposed
title
it with
is.
a question. You made it a statement.
I did
and,
on
and
purpose.
that officially have alienated all our Xbox listeners, all three of them. And
What? That's messed up. No, there's
no,
more than
I don't
three.
mean that three people have Xbox. I mean that three people that have Xbox cares to listen to this heavily heavily lean towards Sony podcast. Oh, let me rephrase that. Heavily lean to Sony if it weren't for me podcast.
Wow.
I'll be the first to
Wonderful.
say that first off, I want nothing but good things for Xbox and the Xbox brethren out there. But you know, you gotta call it as you see
I,
it.
I
You know
think
what I mean?
I
And
think you
and
made your point
sometimes,
last week already, sir. I don't think you need to dig yourself deeper
okay,
anymore.
fair enough, fair enough. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with the article that kind of spurned this particular topic, and actually happened earlier this week.
Okay.
Something that I don't think any of us really thought would happen. Like we were, it really sounded like they were sure that this was coming this year. But
Hmm.
essentially, Halo
Because it
Infinite
was.
has, yeah. Well, I mean, but they were it was like written in stone at some
Yeah.
point, and
Yes. Yes.
suddenly that stone turned out to be really just soap, and it melted away with rain. Halo
That's beautiful.
Infinite has been delayed to 2021, and here's what people had to say about it. Microsoft marquee Xbox Series X launch title Halo Infinite has been delayed to 2021. Developer 343 Industries said the shift to a work from home environment was one part of the reason for the delay. Sidebar here, first off, that is a common thing in the industry at the moment. So
Yes.
that's it. It may sound like a bunch of bullshit, or it may sound like an excuse or something like that, but the reality is a lot of developers have had to deal with that.
Of course.
And no, it sounds like it's something should work and should just work just fine, and that's not really the case. So that does make sense.
100%.
And yeah, and so that's one part of it, and that will give the team the time to deliver a Halo experience that meets our vision. Needless to say, the internet had a lot to say about the delay, and this particular article, which is on GameSpot, has rounding up a lot of comments. I'm not going to go through them because we're going to
Listen,
basically make our own.
I just wanted to add that it takes a lot of communication to make a project that big,
Hmm.
Agreed,
Hmm.
agreed.
and
And when you're not in the same place,
right, and working
yeah,
in the same place, it's critical for it to actually go smoothly. And even then, it's not a smooth ride at all.
100%. Yep.
So just
Yep.
imagine having that distance, and you gotta watch out for leaks and all this security and shit. Like, no, that cannot be easy.
yeah. And that's the other thing, as you said, the fact that it's being sent via the internet, moved around essentially, it can be easily intercepted somewhere. Suddenly, you have a bunch of leaks of
Very
everything.
true.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
so yeah, that is possible as one. And uh Dream and I work from home, and we can definitely tell that while it's nice because you're in your home, your own comfort of your home, it's definitely there's something lost. There's
There is
something,
impact to productivity, 100%.
yeah, there is
Yeah.
definitely a dip,
There's
and it's
always.
it may be because the fact that you're home, it may be because whatever, but the point is there's something that's just not there. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Support isn't easy to get. So no, for sure, I can definitely
Yeah, it's
I
not
can
a
definitely
bullshit.
see that.
It's not a bullshit
Correct.
excuse, and,
Yeah.
and especially when you listen to it in the context of they're not saying it is because of this. They
No,
clearly
no, it's one part.
stated
Yeah.
is one of the reasons, because we all know one of the other reason that made this thing happen, right? You're probably
The
gonna talk about it right now.
yes, I was gonna say that. I mean, I think we can all agree that the reveal of the game's Xbox of Halo Infinite's gameplay clearly showed that the vision, quote unquote, that they have for the game may be a little bit, I don't know, old. You know what I mean? Or maybe just not up to snuff as what you would expect next gen to
Right,
be, particularly from a console that boasts to be the most powerful console on the market.
right, right.
And so, sure, it needs to play on the current consoles that are out there, but I think you can argue that there are some games on this particular generation that we're in that look ridiculously better than that Halo game did. So or from what they showed off. And so clearly I think they heard the word from everyone, even from the Xbox um fans. I don't want to say
Mhm.
fanboy, but let's just say for the Xbox
Enthusiasts.
specific fans, enthusiasts. Even they went. They came out of that. What's his name from IGN? He's been on an Xbox team forever, and I can't remember his name
Oh,
now. But
I don't know. GM.
Ryan something. But anyway,
Davis?
he's been who.
Ryan Davis?
No, something else. But anyway, the point is he's been on an Xbox team for the longest time. And if there's one thing I like about the guy is that he is honest about how the vision, how things appear. You know what I mean? He can be excited for something, but he can also say, "I can see why this can upset certain people." You know what I mean? And he admitted, it's like, yes, they did not have a good showing, and he's still excited for it, but he can see why, it got the heat that it did when it came out. So obviously, I think that, the writing's on the wall here, that's probably the major reason why they've delayed it. um First off, before I move on, do you guys disagree, or do you have any other thoughts as to why they would have delayed it, or
I
are we
think
kind of on the same boat
I,
here?
well, no, the decision definitely had to be made. It's a very tough decision for Microsoft to make because hey, they have a console launching soon, so there might not be a lot of games coming on that launch pad, but definitely Halo could have would have been a system seller. Certainly for those people that are fans of the series, there are a few still, me included. But that showing was not great. It was definitely held back, and the problem was the thing that is causing the problem on is that is that pro consumer approach of wanting to make it backward compatible, which
Hmm.
hey, I understand. It's all good. You want to you have been promising this for Xbox players and that, but it, at this point that is hindering the vision of what that game could be, making it backwards compatible because they can scale that properly. Consoles right now are pretty much hidden PCs basically. uh so I'm pretty sure. I'm not saying that I know 100%, 100% certainly this is it's definitely the case, but I'm willing to bet high money that scaling that, if Microsoft decided to take the opportunity to not, to have this delay and say, well, we're just gonna work. It's now just gonna be an Xbox One X, um, exclusive.
Exclusive,
they
yeah.
can make it they can make it better. They can actually make it better because it's not like they need to reshuffle assets or make crazy changes. We don't even know what the gameplay was. The gameplay could have been fantastic or could have been just another boring open world. We don't know. But
Mhm.
what people were complaining was not about the gameplay because nobody knows about the gameplay. People were complaining about the graphics, the fact that it looks really dated. So here's an opportunity to make it, to make amends. Be like,
To
just
make it, yeah.
let's cut it because that's what Sony does. There's not a version of a game. Oh, by the way, it's also coming out for the PlayStation 4. No, their next gen games look like next gen game because they are
Yeah.
developed from the ground up for the next gen.
They
You
believe
know,
in generations, and
yes,
they've openly said that they believe in generations, and they say,
yes,
hey, if it's coming out to this thing, then it needs to be just for there. It needs to
yeah,
take advantage of all the stuff that's out there.
exactly.
And yeah, I agree.
So
Chaos.
um, that COVID is the reason for the delay. Is that what
Well, I
we're?
mean, no, not just the COVID, but also the fact that it didn't have a very good showing.
Oh no, certainly that definitely has to. I mean, it was not impressive in any way, and to have your flagship title just completely miss the mark, it's just it doesn't look good.
I agree.
yeah,
I agree.
yeah.
Now I don't know how long it's been in development, so
It's
I don't
been
want to
quite a few
say that.
years.
Huh?
It's been quite a few years. Yeah,
Has been kind of a year. So
yeah.
I don't want to say that I don't want to take away from the fact that COVID is a thing. I would almost want to say that the reason COVID is now a thing is because I feel that they're going to have to go back and rework things. And because of COVID, that's going to take longer than necessary. And
Mhm.
so that's where I think they're at with that. Because if I feel like it's been easily 5-6 years that they've been kind of working on this. 5-6 years is enough time to make a solid game. You know what I mean? It's a
Mhm.
solid game within your vision. You know what I mean? You have more than enough time at that point. And so I think literally what we saw was what we were going to get. You know what I mean? And they're going back to do it, and because of the
So
fact that
this is
they're all
damage
working,
control.
this is damage control. I feel that this is damage control, and because of COVID, it's not going to be something they can control within this year. They're going to
Mhm.
say because of production itself has slowed since since March when things all started to go downhill with COVID, and if we're going to rework this, it's going to take time. You know what I mean? I don't think they're
Yeah.
going to pull some sort of Final Fantasy 14 craziness out of this, but it's going to take some time. And I think I honestly think that's why this is even happening.
Yeah.
Now that said, this does leave the Xbox Series X console and possibly S. I think was a rumor
Mm.
that the other one was called, and so this does leave them with no major first party title um,
For
to
a
to
release.
for a release.
For
You know what I mean? Not that it was going to be exclusive to it anyway, right? Because you can get it
Mhm.
through Games Pass, which you can play on PC anyway. So not that it would have been a big deal, but I feel that this particular move is going to be damaging. You know what I mean? It's going to be damaging to the units that they were even whatever units
Mhm.
that they were expecting
Mhm.
are going to be hurt by this because there's no other title. There's nothing else specific to that brand, and all the rest of their stuff is so new that we were seeing CG trailers because they don't even have
Yeah.
working gameplay to show off. So a lot of that stuff is 2021 and beyond.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
again, we have a launch of this is another thing where I can I can almost I don't think they will, but I mean I don't know. I can almost see them going, maybe we won't launch this year. You know what I mean? It's just like I mean, what else can you
I don't.
do at this point?
I don't know about. I mean, that's at that point you're playing with shareholder expectations and stuff like that. That could
Yeah,
get a
for
little
sure, for sure.
brisk
Yeah,
to say. Then then again, the yeah. In this case, I have to absolutely agree. Uh, they might not be in the best position right now to launch this console, especially when you have the incredibly high expectation uh of PlayStation 5 and what is coming. I mean, they're coming from launch position already with the games that are happening. And it's not that they have to have that they have a huge establishment of games coming on launch, but that launch window is pretty solid. And that Spider-Man game alone,
Miles Morales.
Miles
That's a
Morales,
holiday title.
that's a whole,
That's
yeah,
this year.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
That,
yeah.
I mean, when you consider how crazy Spider-Man originally sold, and now you have a new
I'm
console with the
definitely looking
PS5 and all
forward
that.
to it.
A lot
Me
of people
too.
are.
I'm not
A lot
gonna
of
lie.
people are. I want to challenge us, however, to see if we can. How do I put this? Is it really doom and gloom for Xbox though? When you consider that right now they don't have exclusive except the ultimate unbeatable exclusive. You guys know what that is?
Games
You guys know?
Pass.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Game Pass. When you think about it,
Oh,
because it
Game
sounds
Pass.
like,
Yeah, I keep saying Games Pass. My bad.
yeah, Game Pass. Yeah, yeah. When you think about it, it does sound like holy shit, they're just gonna lose money with Xbox, right? Because I mean, the hype is not there. Let's face it. Halo got delayed, and when you look at the games that are coming out, yes, there are some titles there that are interesting. That definitely merits a second view. But we're not gonna see them for a while. Their stable of publish of developers are still in the producing stages. They don't really have anything like ready to go with this generation. And it's going to be very difficult to turn it around. However, they're still making a ridiculous amount of money while at the same time saving face on the consumer side, with Game Pass, and that makes me think very heavily that yes, perhaps Microsoft is realizing that or have realized that already. That it's gonna be next to it's gonna be very difficult to compete with Sony right now. So
The
let's
correct
let's just
if
not
they're
do our own thing.
yeah, exactly.
Let's just go
Yeah.
our own way. I'm sorry, you were gonna say something?
No, no, just I was just gonna kind of piggyback on that to say, yeah, that's exactly the saving grace that they have is that they have Game Pass, Game Pass, and the Game Pass is available, on PC and everything, and
Mm.
and all these games that they've shown off are eventually going to come to it day one,
Well,
and that is a saving grace because and that is a money maker for them.
yeah,
That is
yeah.
billions of dollars that they've made just on that. They weren't selling those consoles. We know that for a fact. They were not selling those consoles, and yet, the majority or a good majority of their consumer base
Mm.
were members of Game Pass and paying $10 a month every month to that service,
Yeah,
regardless of whether there was something to play there or not.
yeah.
Um, maybe something could be said there that perhaps these consumers are not exactly, on top of their stuff, but at the same time, it's like, well, that's not Microsoft's fault. You know what I mean? And Microsoft is just saying, well, hey, you've paid into it, and we will get you games, and they will
I
automatically
mean,
come to it.
in what sense? Because because Game Pass as it stands right now, even with the lack of Microsoft games, they still offer tons of other games. So
No, for sure.
it's not like they're missing out on anything. That's the thing. The system is almost almost dare to say almost flawless, or if it has a flaw, I certainly can't see it because Microsoft have found a way to suddenly, instead of releasing a title and getting the bulk of the money up front, $60, and they're getting the devalue money, later on until it costs no more, until they can't get anything for it, they can continuously have a revenue every month on the same games, new and old, so it's balancing out, while at the same time making it look like this ridiculously amazing deal for the consumer that for the price of for the price of two games, in a year, they have a year of, however, dozens or hundreds of games or however many are on the on the Game Pass and more included. And they're not because you might say, well, Sony has a subscription streaming service also. Oh, well, actually, we haven't even touched on the subscription on the streaming service. This is also not talking about XCloud, which is part of it also, which is
Hmm.
part of that 14.99 a
Comes with
month.
it, yeah. Hmm.
It comes with it exactly, which is again a ridiculously value pack, and and yeah, they're continuously making money out of that. Uh, maybe this is the point where Microsoft decide, well, this is what we're gonna want. This is what we want. This is what we're gonna be now. Well, let's just be
Hmm.
the Netflix of gaming
Of gaming. Yep.
for PCs, and you will have to imagine that that Sony and who knows if maybe even Nintendo might follow through with something like that, because at the end, isn't that the ultimate goal? Just have a continuous revenue subscription revenue, somehow.
Perhaps, but I would have to say perhaps, but I would have the numbers look good. And when you look at how Microsoft has made based on their subscription, they look good, right? You said it's the price of two games per year,
Mhm.
to be on that subscription. But in the end, I feel that they've also not had to put in too much, like because Microsoft Studios itself was limited to just three studios. I feel that there wasn't a lot of money they were burning on making games, so they didn't really have that much coming back.
Mhm.
Um, and so with Sony, I think with Sony and with Nintendo, specifically with Nintendo too, because Nintendo's big on this. It is about the marquee title. It is about that. I mean, freaking Animal Crossing has sold like 22 million units. I mean, something ridiculous, bro. Xbox and freaking Sony would love one of their freaking first party titles to sell that much. I don't think any of their first party titles. I could look at Sony's best selling first party title, which is Spider Man, nowhere near 22 million units. 22 million units of fucking Animal Crossing. And I'm not saying it's a bad
That's
game.
crazy.
I'm just saying this Animal Crossing. So that's what I'm saying. I don't think they're going to jump on that model yet because they don't need to. They haven't put themselves into a corner where they don't have yes, Microsoft now has first party studios, but because you have first party studios, what does that mean? You have revenue, you have expenses you have to pay for these studios. You have expenses that you didn't have to pay before when you had Game Pass. It was like, hey, we have your Halo, which will come out eventually. We have your Forza, and we have your Gears, and that's all we have for you. That's all we're spending on it, and you're paying $10 a month to be on Game Pass, and we're just raking in that money. You know what I'm saying? Now that you have these big studios,
you said it well. They really don't have to.
They didn't have to. But now you have these big studios, so now you kind of have something that needs to come in. So I feel that yes, that's worked for them so far in this generation. I don't know if that's going to work the same in the next generation when you have all these, unless you're going to be closing them down like Lionshead and everybody else. You know what I'm saying? Then what the fuck was the point? So I don't know.
When you're talking about and this has preliminary numbers from the beginning. Obviously, the numbers have increased since then. But when you're talking about over 10 million subscribers already on a program that is relatively young, that means that they're pulling at least 100 million a month when you do the math. That is 2.1 billion a year that they bring. I don't think they have a problem of revenue, friend. I think even with they can have more.
Billion.
It'd be like 1.2 billion, right?
1.2 billion, not 2.
There you go.
Yeah. 1.2 billion. Yeah. That is
sure.
That is a lot.
That's gross revenue, though. You still have to pay for a bunch of shit. You still need to pay for the servers and the maintenance and you know what I mean? Yes, that's great.
But it's recurring revenue rather than the ups and downs. Because you have to.
That's not revenue.
You know that.
That's just no. That's gross. That's gross profit. That's not the same thing. No, revenue is after you've paid everything. What do you have? What do you keep? What's the net past that?
And
we don't know what that is.
What do you think they keep of 1.2 billion? Like even a quarter of that is a shit ton of money.
Perhaps. Perhaps. I mean, but that's like
my point is my point is not where it gets distributed. My point is that people think that the company's fucked, because they're showing, and that's not that is not your thought or Chaos thought or my thought, but the general consensus out there is that this is it. This is it. If they don't make it out of here, they're screwed, and they fail to realize that they have other ways that they have been making money. Now, I'm not saying this in a way to say, well, hooray for Microsoft, for doing, because yes, I appreciate Game Pass, but I still want my fucking single player experiences, and right now the console I'm getting them is on PlayStation, but they're fine. It's not doom and gloom. Even with this console not doing as well, they're still, at the end of the day, they're still making a lot of money easy. Because they're selling their old games, their old stuff, their older games. Even if they're not bringing the newer games, they're still offering the old games.
Listen, I'm considering getting an Xbox Series X.
Well, you don't have to, because you can get it. You can play these games on your PC. Yeah, that's the thing. That's the beauty of it. And
I will have to use mouse and keyboard.
Who gets the money? No, because you can play with a controller. I know you're trying to be humorous about it, but you know that you can play those games with a controller.
Yeah, I know.
So So yeah, there's yeah. At the end of the day, no even reason. The Xbox, whatever, doesn't even need to sell. Microsoft will probably be fine.
Yeah,
Well,
I was
that's
actually
what I'm
thinking about
saying.
that, especially since Game Pass is on like PC and everything. There's really no need.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
Exactly.
still say I'm still in the camp that first of all, so we don't really know the numbers,
Right,
uh,
that's true.
and we don't know where the spending
And
and
let's
yes,
clarify that money is completely relative. What to you is a shit ton of money, to them is just chump change.
yeah, it's like that's what we made last year, you know, in the first 6 months. So it's like 1.2 billion, that's a lot, but at the same time, you also have and you're also paying for a console launch, which you're manufacturing. You know what I mean? You're manufacturing units. That's all money. So it's great that yes, you made that 1.2 billion, but how much of it's going to all these things? What do you have in the end? What is the actual revenue you make for the year? Is it less than last year? Because if that's the case, then it's not sure you're technically in the black because you've made money, you know what I mean? But if it's less than last year, it's a failure on any business sheet. You know what I mean? It's like if it was 10 million in revenue last year and it is 7 million this year, we made $7 million. We're not what we're at. We're supposed, and that's just unfortunate way business looks at it. Unfortunately, even though
Historically,
technically, hey,
though,
that's yeah.
have you heard of a subscription? Historically, though, that's my question.
Mhm.
Have you heard about like how many subscription companies and I know it happens. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but I'm
Mhm.
just saying for the time frame that they are, looking at Netflix, shit. I'm even looking at World of Warcraft, where at some point it peaked in subscriptions
Mhm.
and then it went down because the quality stopped being there on the releases of that one game. But let's talk. This looks more like Netflix than World of Warcraft. So let's let,
Yeah, it
let's
does.
compare
Yeah.
to
Mhm.
Netflix. Uh, Numbers have for Netflix right now. They have kind of peaked, but for the longest time it was nothing but growth, right?
Yeah.
So and if I'm telling you these numbers, these are the early numbers, then if I were to be on this, if I were to put stock on it, which is already been established that I don't,
You
because
wait, don't
I
you own
I
a
own
stock?
fine.
Yeah.
I own a Microsoft stock. I own four Microsoft stocks. I can't even get the money from them because I don't even know who is actually handling it. But uh, and it was just one that split it twice, or who knows? Maybe I own six. I don't know. Anyway, that's not here because I can't get that money back anyway. Um, but if I were to bet, I guess it looks like, and with more games coming to being included, and with
Mhm.
all the well the what do you call it? The people praising the service, because that's the only thing that is getting praised about Microsoft right now, right? It's just Game Pass, because it's not the games.
Yes, because it's completely yes, it's very cheap to buy into.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
all right, so think about this for a second. Look at
So
the
it's
look at the
growing. It's nothing but growing, and it tends to grow more.
potentially, yes.
Yeah.
Potentially it is growing. But let's look at the costs that has been already put into the Halo Infinite game, right? It's been
Mm,
in development for 5 years.
mm,
That's 5 years of them paying the team to make it, the maintenance behind making it and everything, and they have not seen a cent yet. The idea was to have it off available this holiday, right?
mm,
So at that point they were like, okay, so you're going to have certain people who don't have Game Pass are going to buy it, and others who do have Game Pass, well, we're just going to keep their subscription and things are going to keep going. So
mm,
now it's so okay, so you look at that and you look at the numbers and go, okay, so this is kind of more or less what we're looking at. Let's say, I don't know, just it's throwing a weird number. This is 3 million in revenue when everything's said and done. We've paid
mm,
everybody we had to pay, whatever. We're looking at 3 million in revenue. Well, now you have to delay it, right? And we don't know in 2021, so let's just be generous and say it comes out in the spring of 2021. So
mm,
now it's an additional 4 months of more work that they have to pay for, and still we're not actually making anything off of this particular game just yet.
mm.
You know what I'm saying? it's cool and it's great for it is great for the consumer. It really, really, really is.
The people that you
But
hate.
in the end, I don't know if it's something that's sustainable. It's almost it's not as drastic as Movie Pass, but somewhere at the point you go, okay, you're paying more than you're getting back in, and I don't know if that's
Where is that though?
no, I'm
See,
saying,
you had me until you got to that point.
well,
Where,
that's I just said that it's not as drastic as that, but at some
because you're
point
assuming that the
it
only
could
thing
cost
that
a
they're
lot.
getting that you get on Game Pass are Xbox games. When in reality, there's
No, I
a
know there's
lot
a
of
bunch
third
of other
party
games.
games that
I know that. I know that
yeah.
for sure. But
Okay, let's not
is it
forget.
is it the same spike that you would get when you have a major launch that is only available to you and you're getting all that money on that major? You know what I'm saying? When you sell, I don't know,
When you
10
get
million
it
units,
consistently, yes, because even though remember, even though
but no, it's consistent. There's
you
no
get
change. There's no
no, but
change to it, right? It's still
bro, hear me out. Hear me
uh
out. When let's let's say the you know Spider-Man. Well,
mhm,
it got released and it made a shit ton of money. It made a shit ton of money of the people that obviously that that bought it. There are people that didn't buy it because they don't care about it. Believe it or not, there are people that just didn't care, and
mhm,
for whatever reason, that's fine. And at that point, that the amount of sales, um, they get to be less and less and less each month because people have already gotten it because reduced because of sales, whatever. There's a point where it just not feasible to be selling it. It doesn't sell as much
as
anymore. It
well.
still
Mhm,
sells
yeah,
because
some point,
everybody
yeah, it
people
goes down.
that's when it becomes a greater hits or whatever to try to like bump it up again and whatever. you know when you are subscribed, granted you're getting less for that particular title that could have actually made you more, but you're also getting that money consistently throughout the month. That is assuming that people just don't decide to cancel. And yes, they're gonna have his cancellations, we already know that, yada, yada. But if it's on an upwards going trend, then even the people that wouldn't have bought that game are paying for it because they are on that subscription, even if they don't play it you
Mhm.
know so that money that's why everybody wants to go to subscription service rather than a rental service. That's why Netflix is actually a subscription service rather than a particular rental. And some might argue that rental is a subscription, whatever, but that's what they're going
Kind of what it
towards,
is.
that subscription model. And hey, I don't I'm, I used to be on the camp that I would say stoutly like, no, I want to own my games. I want to own my games. I'm going to buy all my games and I'm going to have a collection of it. But guess what? That disappeared already. That dream disappeared when everything went digital and you don't own anything, and anything could be taken out at the whim of the platform holder at whatever time.
Mhm.
So at that point now I'm more open towards that. Yeah, I'll get Game Pass and I'll play Gears of War, and I'll have it, for a month. And shit, I forgot to cancel it, so they charge me the other month now, because that's gonna happen too. That's the part where I say that model works. Because if it wasn't working, Netflix wouldn't be doing it, Prime wouldn't be doing it, Game Pass wouldn't be doing it. And what you're saying is that, well, this is more like Movie Pass. No, because Movie Pass was a ridiculous
No, I
concept.
didn't say it was more like Movie Pass.
Well, you were comparing it to, you were saying that
Yes,
it's almost like,
no.
yeah, you said almost like.
I was using that scenario to say at some point it can become where you're paying more out than you're bringing in. That's all I was
Oh,
saying. I didn't say it was like that.
oh,
I'm just saying at
but
some
but
point
but is
you get
that
to that
really it?
point, and that's where you're at. Well,
Do you
right
see that?
now that's not the case. But when you have, again, I feel like when you had the minimal studios, the minimal amount of money having to go out, then yes, that was a great model for that time. But now you actually own studios that you have to pay a lot into to get whatever they're coming out, and then you're getting it, and it's just coming out to your service as $10 a month.
But your money, you're making
Maybe that
more
works.
money though. You're still making more
Perhaps that
money, so I
works.
don't know where the math is.
That's what I'm saying. Perhaps that works in the end. I just
uh,
say Netflix didn't stay at $8.99. That's
right?
you know what
No,
I'm saying.
true.
So at some point it kept going up because it realized, yeah, it can't be. It's not sustainable at $8.99. So
Right.
at some point, when you have enough studios coming in, suddenly it's not going to be sustainable at $10 a month, and maybe whatever, and before you know it, you're at $15 a month, maybe even $20 a month,
Yeah. And
because
to be fair,
it needs to go
Netflix
up.
also doesn't have the best movies. Just like Microsoft doesn't have the best games right now.
True, yeah,
But
for
people,
sure.
they're certainly successful.
They are.
People Friday night, people Netflix and chill, or real Netflix,
Real Netflix,
and
yeah.
not chill. Netflix and actually watch for the
Fair
boring
enough,
people out
fair
there.
enough.
But yeah,
All right.
I still I know what you're saying. Obviously, the what you call them, the developers, they have to pay the developers. That's obvious, but they have to pay the developers on the old method as well. It's the same thing. They will have to. The only difference is that the old method is riskier, because if suddenly you have a great company spending a lot of money on a game, and that game doesn't, because it's not a success in the AAA market, now that company could go under. That company, because hey, we did Control and it didn't sell, even though it's Control, it's an amazing title, and it didn't sell. Whether the new method, you don't have to worry about that, because the risk is completely distributed among all the subscription services that are there. So even if the game sucks, just people are still paying full price for it in a way, because all you have to do is just have one sucker be there for 6 months. Now multiply that by 10 million suckers,
10
me
million suckers.
included, and suddenly you're making bank on Halo, Halo the bad edition or whatever. That's a poor example. I don't know. Life of Tiger 2
Something, yeah.
Microsoft edition.
Some
There
other
you go.
game that doesn't even have any business being on the service, but it's there anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the point I'm trying to bring home, the fact that I particularly, will still prefer my classic experience. I want my games. They're now digital. That's fine, whatever. But I want to have the experience of buying the game, and that. But I can I like what Game Pass has to offer, and it's kind of like, honestly, if I haven't done it, it's because I have a huge backlog. I can't justify doing it, but I can imagine other people not doing so. Even if you're not an Xbox fan, or for example, but let's say you own a PC. There's tons of other titles right now that are not console exclusives, that you could be playing right now, uh, for the small amount that they're charging every month, and that makes it look for them, because they make money, and makes it good for us, because right now we're only paying $14.99 for it. Perhaps it'll be a different song when they inevitably up the price to
Up to that price. Yeah.
19.99. Yeah.
Exactly. At some
But
point,
I feel like at that point they won't be making it because of, well, this infrastructure. No, they'll be doing it because, listen, studies suggest that we have been successful charging at this price. We're gonna make it more expensive because people are willing to pay. It's still a great bargain, just like Amazon has done with Prime.
exactly. And you know what? It goes up, and I'm like, yeah, all right.
Yeah, exactly. At that point, it's like, well, I guess they're still bringing my toothpaste whenever I need it the next day, overnight. So
Pretty much, yeah. All right. Any final thoughts, Chaos? You've been like.
I think he's sleeping. Honestly, I think he's
No.
He's out.
I'm just here listening and
Oh,
just
okay.
thinking about it, but it's so many things to look at.
Consider.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. All right, guys. Well, that there brings us to the end of an awesome episode 224 of GG's Mouthful Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, please go to goodgame.rocks, join the conversation there. And of
Dot
course,
rocks.
Dot rocks.
He likes that.
Yeah.
Rocks. He woke up.
Sir, I love you. And I love that you're metal, my friend. I really, really do. I really, really
Continue
do.
being metal.
Yeah,
Fuck yeah.
it's just there's something so cool about that. But anyway, something I can't pull off. I think that's really what it is. I'm
What?
like, I
Why
cannot.
not?
No.
Oh, because you
Why
listen to
not?
Hamilton the whole time.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
I guess the Hamilton part.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of
Haters.
puts it
First
off.
off, okay. So before I close this out, I'm just gonna say I'm gonna need you both to watch. You don't have to enjoy it. I just need you to both watch it.
Oh,
And I have a feeling that you both
Fine.
will enjoy it. But I think, yeah, I'm almost willing to pay for the subscription for you guys to watch it. Okay, because
And the
feel
scary
that
thing is that he will. He totally would.
I
So.
will. And
I think I have
anyway,
Disney Plus already because I'm waiting for the Mandalorian.
so then what are you waiting for? Just put it on. I guarantee you guys are going to be enthralled at some point. Maybe not.
I
in the
wanna
beginning.
Okay,
I
I
wanna
don't
watch
know
it.
about enthralled, but I'll give it a shot.
Give
I
it a
wanna.
shot. Give it a shot. It's. I've watched it. I'm literally at 18th or 19th time that I've watched it since it's become available.
I believe you.
So anyway, again, thanks so much for tuning in. This is Mad Dog signing off this week, saying don't forget to vote because it is that fucking important, people.
For real. Come
Yes.
on.
Yeah, keep wearing your masks, please. Mr. Chaos Reaper.
I thought we already covered this part.
Okay, Mr. Davis Santos. Take us home.
I just want to give a shout out to my wife, my amazing wife. She, I needed a haircut badly, but I'm not crazy enough to go to the salon. So she went ahead and she took the machine and she just went to town. Yeah, and now I have a buzz and. I'm digging it. I'm digging the Arnaldo Martin look. It's actually very. I can see my skull.
It's
I'm not bald. I'm not shaved.
You know what I mean?
The
It's
what?
just
The what?
Get up. I call it the get up and go.
Yes, it is very get up and go.
Yeah. It's great. Why wouldn't you want that? Yeah, that's the best.
Yeah, I like it. I might rock it. I might rock it for I don't know, 6 months or so. I mean, it'll probably last me 6
over.
months. I think after the pandemic is over, if ever, I'll still rock it because man, it just feels good.
Nice. All right, guys. Well, thanks again, and we'll see you next week.
GG!